3 minutos pra essa bagaça começar, cê é louco. Vamos ver se compensou ter dormido 4 horas só pra acordar e assistir isso aqui, meu. Junto com vocês. Bom dia pra quem tá chegando aí, galera. Sério? Ah, bora, né? O Minimax aí, ó.
Vamos acompanhar, por que não, pô? Tô pequenininho na tela.
Olha o tamanho da minha imagem na tela, cara. Vou deixar assim mesmo. Bora? Vamos ver. Se estiver prestando, sim. Se não, eu flopo. Vai depender se estiver prestando ou não. Deixei bem pequenininho para não atrapalhar. Ah, porque é a prova do estágio. Três, 2, acabando. Vai começar. Pronto. Fala, Telo, bom dia.
Hello, ich bin Phil Spencer. We at Team Xbox are excited to be back at Gamescom to celebrate gaming with our fans from all over the world. Whether attending the show or watching from home, fans in Germany, Europe, and around the world can expect a little more insight into some of our previously announced games coming to Xbox in the next 12 months. We're excited to continue building a community together and bringing the joy of gaming to everyone on the planet. From all of us at Xbox, Dankeschön, and welcome to Gamescom 2022.
Quantos jogos eles vão mostrar então? Vamos ver. Vamos ver se eu estou errado em achar que não tem tanta coisa assim.
Hello everyone. It's been 3 long years, but today we are finally back in Cologne, Germany to bring you all things Gamescom. And it feels so good to be back. For the next 6 hours, we'll be bringing you in-depth discussions with the creators of some of this year's most anticipated games.
Se alguém souber de algum lugar que tem legenda, me fala que eu troco o stream aqui. Se vocês acharem alguma transmissão com legenda, me avisa.
Responsible for A Plague Tale Requiem, Age of Empires, Sea of Thieves, Minecraft Legends, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Pentiment, High on Life,
Pena que você não pode entrar aqui no Discord.
Grounded, Under the Waves, Planet of Lana, and Gunfire Reborn. And listen, I cannot tell you how good it feels to be back here, surrounded by fans and developers, and not just talking through a computer screen after all of these years. Am I right, everyone? Yeah. That's right.
Tá aí um jogo que...
It's so great to be back and to be bringing such brilliant games along to Gamescom with us. If you're watching at home, we want to hear what you're excited about. So as we go through the show, use the hashtag #XboxGamescom to join the conversation. Now let's get into the content, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to clear the runway so we can welcome the creators of Flight Simulator to the stage. But before we sit down with the team, what a better way to celebrate Gamescom than with an entrance to the city from the Flight Simulator directly. Enjoy and viel Spaß!
Melhor. Uma cabeça.
This has to be one of my favorite clips, and based on the video you just saw, our next guest landed here at Cologne Messe in Germany to talk all things airborne. I'm super thrilled to introduce you the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, Jörg Neubrand, and also the CEO of Asobo Studio, Sebastian Floch. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Maxi. It's great to be back here at Gamescom
Right?
in beautiful Cologne, in person. Let's go.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. And I heard you brought something special with you today.
Yes, we did. We thought we have to rise to the occasion and do something special, and we had to come up with something new. So for the
O Drake
first
vai ter
time,
muita
we're doing
exceção de
something
linguiça,
called
né?
City Update,
Não tem jeito.
which essentially means we made 5 new
Não tem
photogrammetry
jeito.
cities here in the area, and we have a trailer. So let's take a look.
Fala, Betão. Bom dia, cara. Vai ter alguma coisinha interessante ali pra nós, eu acho, mas eu acho que 80% vai ser aquela velha e boa exceção, né, de linguiça, como todo evento de toda desenvolvedora. Raros os eventos que salvam assim, tipo, nossa, a maior parte foi essa Gamescom que mostrou Lords of the Fallen 2, eu queria ter assistido, cara, eu não vi até agora. Vou ver uma reprise depois. Mas aqui eu não acho que vai ter tanta coisa não. Tá aí, ó, pra quem gosta de simulação e tal, ok? Agora falando por mim, Max, eu não vou jogar isso, então vou tchau. O bacana é a acessibilidade que esse jogo permite no console quando você compara com uma máquina, um PC para montar e jogar ele, né?
This looked incredible.
Pra dar isso aí.
I think I even saw 5 soccer stadiums. I definitely saw BVB, Cologne. I wonder if we have any Cologne fans. You're Cologne
Yeah,
fan?
maybe a little guilty. I'm a big
Bom ter
Bundesliga
lembrado,
fan, and
Emerson.
My favorite club is
Deixa eu desativar esses áudios aí, senão...
So happy to put it
desativada,
in a
não,
video.
deixa aí, cara.
But
Quiser mandar, manda.
I hear it till here. But yeah, really incredible, amazing.
thank you. Yeah, photogrammetry is awesome.
Fala aí, Milton.
So just to explain, we flew all this last year. So basically we have planes flying really low, taking a photograph a second.
Ô, lembrando, esse ano eu vou na BGS, hein? Quero ver vocês lá na BGS, hein, caraca. Duvido que alguém aí vai, né, porque tá numa situação meio foda, mas o DK basicamente me obrigou aí com ele. Não tem como falar não. Esse ano estarei lá. Vai ser uma BGS interessante.
So last year
Bem.
for Gamescom we actually launched the Junkers U-52, which is my personal favorite plane. And for this year we said, what are we going to do to top this? And we are taking the sort of the father of the Junkers U-52. It's the Junkers F-13.
É, eu não ia.
which was the first
Só que aí
metal
aquela cabra
transport plane in the world. So it
ordinária
actually started airlines.
veio e falou pra
That
mim,
one.
falou, então,
And,
cara, tô com o ingresso
so
aqui
we actually have a
sobrando.
trailer, so let's take a look.
Toma, na cara. E eu assim, na cara não, vai estragar o velório, senhor. Não, teve jeito. Armou a 12, né? Pô, toma aí. Não, Buco DK, você também, você não vai não? Pelo menos um dia. Pega um dia pra você ir, ô animal, com a gente. Ó, o Milão mesmo vai um dia. Então, esse é um dos principais motivos pelos quais eu vou, Telo. Bom dia, cara. Porque não vai ter o stand da MS, né? Infelizmente. Mas também não tendo o stand da MS, eu imagino que evita também de um monte de barata e cara chato ir lá encher o saco, entendeu? Vai mesmo que ia curtir o evento, cara. Eu acho que foi uma decisão acertada da Microsoft. Não discordei dela não estar presente, não. Entendo os porquês, e pelo menos eu imagino, né? Os motivos. Uma BGS mais saudável. Infelizmente, né? Queria que a Microsoft tivesse também, queria que ela tivesse presente no evento. A gente não sabe nem se a Sony vai estar presente, né? Já pensou se a Sony falar também, ó, nós também não vamos? Nossa, fica um buraco no meio da BGS. É, então. Por isso que eu acho que ela vai estar legal esse ano de ir. Nossa, imagina um PC pra rodar isso aí, cara. Do jeito que o Xbox roda. Pode? Ah, mas considere chamado, então. Certeza que ele vai.
That trailer, the music, it really, you just bringing a beautiful piece of history to life. So thank you so much for that. And I'm wondering, when you are choosing a plane like the Junkers F-13, like, what is the process like to make it as authentic as possible? I'm assuming you can't just like travel back in time and talk to the German engineer Hugo Juncker himself.
Time travel, Seb. It's a new feature. We need to put that in the flight sim. No, seriously. So it's a ton of research. The first thing we do is, are there any surviving aircraft? So this plane is from 1922, and we looked, and there are pieces. So we first contact all the museums where the pieces are. And so in this case, the German Museum, Deutsche Museum in Munich, has an original cockpit. They had it in storage. We told them what our plan was.
Pô, precisava ter legenda, cara. Ninguém descobriu uma fonte aí com legenda, não?
And then they also had a replica, so we scanned the exterior. And then there's a company, the Junkers company celebrated the 100-year anniversary of this plane just recently, and they built 3 replicas. So we talked to that team as well, and they let us scan all the new instruments, and they had people who fly that. So they gave us feedback on the flight model and everything to make sure that it's perfect. So it takes a ton of people, but it's great fun.
So does that mean when you, for example, decide on a new plane to bring back, you have a dedicated internal team that will look after it, or do you bring some outside people in as well?
We bring outside people in. So this particular plane is actually made by a German engineer, a software engineer. His name is Oliver Moser. And he works with the German Museum and a whole bunch of other people to really get it right. And the curators of those museums, they live those planes. That's what they do in their life, right? So they know everything about everything. We can ask any questions. So that's the process with old aircraft. And with new aircraft, Seb is actually oftentimes traveling.
Yeah. Just last summer, we visited a school to fly on the gimbal, Cabri G2. When we do an aircraft, we make it extremely realistic. We go capture audio data, flight data, visual data, and we test the aircraft with engineers from the manufacturers or even test pilots.
And I mean, that sounds incredible, but what's even more incredible is Flight Sim is literally turning 40 this year. Like, I'm 38. I can't even believe there is a game that is older than me. No, but it's really amazing. It's a milestone. And you announced at the Xbox Bethesda showcase that there will be a 40th anniversary edition. Before we dive into that one, what does it feel like to run Microsoft's longest gaming franchise? Do you have any key elements that you can share?
Eu esqueci o nome. Eu queria lembrar o nome da arma do Halo. Esqueci o nome dela.
We feel very...
Fala Daniel Nakata.
We always say we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Bruce Arkwright made the first Flight Sim. He invented the genre. We try to stay very true to that fundamental vision. And I would say that what stands out to me is the fans. We talk to them all the time. There's people that have been with Flight Sim for 40 years, so they're in their 80s. They know everything, and they're very
Galera, nada a ver com o assunto, off.
That's what makes it fun.
Eu tenho 2 pessoas
when you're
Dois
talking about
amigos
community,
meus,
what have they been
um amigo e
asking
uma amiga,
for
na
the
verdade,
40th
estão querendo
anniversary?
comprar Xbox
yeah, so they
360
started,
usado.
they have a lot of requests.
Se alguém tiver aí num preço legal, me avisa.
Helicopters and
Tá?
gliders. And Seb
Me avisa que eu
awesome
tô
team
dando
at
uma
Sobre
força
did
aí.
a bunch of work. So Seb, just
Não,
talk about
acabou de
that a little bit.
começar.
Yeah, so
Acabou de
helicopters
começar.
and
Perdeu
gliders,
a
they both
falação.
are very specific and they require a lot more accurate
Fala,
simulation
Geraldo,
of the
como é que você
airflow
tá, cara? Aí pela trova.
around the aircraft. So, for example, for helicopters,
Ô, Daniel, joia também.
we have the gimbal Cabri
Ó, rapaziada que tiver pela
we
Trovo,
simulate 1,000
acompanha pelo
surfaces,
YouTube
of
ou
the
pela
helicopter
Twitch.
instead of just
Porque o
one,
Restream que eu
which was
uso
the
para distribuir o
previous
sinal para as
helicopter model.
plataformas,
And
ele
we
tá
have to
com
simulate
uma
also the
mudança aí
airflow around the
prevista
helicopter,
para agora dia 28.
because
Eu
the
não vou
rotor,
conseguir fazer live
is
mais
what
para
makes the
todas
helicopter
as
fly,
plataformas
and it
simultaneamente.
pushes the air downwards. So it creates
Eu vou
very
diminuir um
complex
pouco aqui, porque essa
airflow movements.
falação... Eu vou continuar fazendo live pro YouTube e pra Twitch somente. Então quem puder acompanhar nessas plataformas, o Restream vai cobrar para mandar o sinal para todas as plataformas, só vai permitir no plano free para duas. Então eu vou manter o YouTube e a Twitch, não tem o que fazer, entendeu? Quem curte o canal, puder acompanhar o canal pela Twitch ou pelo YouTube, acompanha. Que eu não vou... Não parei não, eu tô na Twitch, eu tô agora online. Eu entro todo dia na Twitch, cara. Todo dia. Todo dia. Pode olhar no minha timeline dos vídeos lá. Todo dia tem live na Twitch. Ontem teve, anteontem teve. É, então, apareceram duas pessoas querendo comprar 360 usado. Uma, inclusive, ontem mandou mensagem durante a live. E o outro é um amigo meu também que tá querendo pro filho dele pequeno. Ô Nakata, seja bem-vindo aí, cara, pela Twitch. Pô, esse negócio do Restream foi foda, cara.
Because you said July and it's very hot, that makes a difference, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The gimbal G2 has enough power to
Como assim?
climb vertically when it's cold. But in July, when we flew, it was 100° Fahrenheit, and we couldn't even go up vertically. We had to go up forward. Yeah.
And another thing you said, it sounds very dangerous. That's like this blade flapping. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any aircraft knowledge this deep, but it sounds
Não, ô
like
louco, Daniel, tô fazendo live todo dia, cara.
birds first fly? I don't know.
Não são lives longas, mais de 12 horas. Live de 5, 6, mas todo dia.
We had to push it up from 100 Hz to 1000 Hz, just to capture a rotor going around. Because it spins so fast and flapping is... Mano,
eu tô com a mesma camisa de ontem, a camisa que eu dormi. Eu terminei a live, eu dormi com essa camisa, acordei e tô com ela. Do jeito que eu dormi, eu tô, mano. Que relaxa. Relaxa, como é que fala a mim? Relaxa. Todo trabalhado no relaxo.
One important effect is the ground vortex effect with the ring vortex when the helicopter spins.
Legal ver essa grade de demarcação do desenvolvedor, né? Em cima do que está sendo feito, do que tem que ser mostrado.
And it's very hard for it to climb at that moment.
I love these deets. I could talk forever about this, but I think the most important question now is, could you explain a little bit what is the difference between a glider and all the other?
Pô, Daniel, que bom, cara. Poxa. A gente tá focando aqui, né? Depois da foiçada que a gente levou da Trovo. Você é louco, cachoeira.
So they have either a tow plane or they will have a winch which is going to launch them into the air. And once you're up there, if you want to stay
não, não tá não. Essa acabou ontem. É leite com café hoje, cara. Não sei, acho que não dá pra ver, né? Deixa eu ver. É leite com café hoje. Não é a mesma cerveja, não. Droga, acabou. É, droga.
Glide distance, but when there's updraft, it can stay in the air for hours, basically, as long as there's sunlight and as long as it heats up the air. And it makes it, yeah, it makes
Peguei.
you can glide along.
Console animal, viu, cara? Animal. A única coisa que precisa acontecer é a Sony tomar vergonha na cara e baixar o preço dos jogos na PSN, que eu acho que ela não vai fazer, porque ela tá estuprando a galera com os preços que ela tá cobrando. Tá ridículo. Tudo bem que a Microsoft não tá muito atrás, mas a Sony sempre foi mais cara nisso, né? Agora, fora isso, cara, o que me surpreendeu, sabe o que foi, Daniel? Isso aqui, ó. Que controle animal pra jogar. Confortável, gostoso, cara. Bem melhor do que o do PS4. Que não é ruim. Mas, na minha opinião, ele tá, em questão de material, qualidade, ergonomia, conforto, ele tá melhor que o do Xbox Series X, cara. De uma forma geral. Ainda prefiro os analógicos como o do Xbox Series X. Aqueles analógicos, né, na diagonal ali. Eu me sinto mais confortável. Mas a pegada do controle é uma delícia, cara. A qualidade do material parece controle premium, cara. Muito foda. E tem funções também que isso é louco. Até som no bagulho sai, isso é doido. Cara, até agora, terminei God of War 3, que eu nunca tinha terminado. Só que eu fiz isso no Play 4. Tava jogando God of War 2018. Agora eu tô jogando Returnal. Depois eu vou começar o Demon Souls. Aí tem Spider-Man, Last of Us, tem os Horizons lá, Zero Dawn e Forbidden West, tem um monte de jogo pra jogar, cara. Cacetada de coisa. Até o momento não tem do que reclamar não, cara. Puta console foda. Lógico que o Xbox tem várias vantagens, né? Inúmeras. Inúmeras. O Xbox é foda. Mas, cara, tanto um quanto o outro são ótimas opções, desde que você tenha foco em coisas específicas. Antes, o Xbox era vantagem total. Ainda continua sendo vantagem. Mas com essa Plus, tá menos desvantajoso, assim. Você pagando a Plus, tem bastante opção de coisa pra jogar. Mas o Game Pass também é anos-luz à frente, né? Com quantidade de coisas colocadas lá, variedades. Xbox é foda, cara. O Play tá muito bom também. Eu gostei muito desse controle, velho, sem brincadeira. É foda você acostumar com um controle desse. Aí parece zoeira o que eu vou falar aqui, né?
Ah lá, meu sonista radical, cara. Para o controle é melhor. Vamos fazer print, corte no vídeo dele e colocar no Twitter pra xingar ele.
Mas, esse controle do Play 5 aqui faz o controle do Series X parecer controle third party, cara. Qualidade do material. Cara, tá muito caro. Tanto o Play quanto o Xbox, os valores subiram indecentemente, velho. Pô, isso aqui era pra custar 3,5, eu tenho a versão digital. O Mercado Livre, eu só vi uma loja vendendo esse valor. Tá 5 conto, 5 e pouco. Os consoles dispararam de valor, cara. Tá ridículo. Ridículo, cara. Tudo muito caro. Se a pessoa tem condição de manter os dois, com a Plus e com o Game Pass, pegue os dois, cara. Tem jogos bons pros dois. Agora, é uma paulada, hein? É 10 conto de console, mais serviço anual. Ai, vai gastar 10 conto e lá vai pedrada. Essa brincadeira aí. Raf, que sonistinha. Meu, você vai ver. Eu tô na vibe Macaulay Culkin. Esqueceram de mim. Esqueçam de mim, cara. Deixa eu quieto. Eu só quero jogar, mano. Ai, ai. O povo me ama. Fala, Nicolas. Você tá bem, cara? Vai jogar o Death Stranding, agora tá no Game Pass. Eu tô com a Plus aqui, cara. Eu tenho ele no PS5. Eu pretendo jogar também. Eu tenho ele, tá instalado, inclusive. Tá instalado no Play 5 aqui. Não senti muita empolgação, não, da galera ali. Tem a meia dúzia de candango perdido ali, ó. Olha o Scorpion, guachachara ali, ó. Mas eu não sei se eu vou curtir muito a proposta do Death Stranding, não, cara. Eu vi uns vídeos, vi umas gameplays, não sei se ele vai fazer muito minha cara, não. Sei lá. Posso me surpreender, mas não sei. De verdade. Eu tô ansiosíssimo pro Demon Souls, cara. Pau endurecido aqui pra acabar o Returnal, que tá muito bom também.
Lots of luminaries, so and a lot of them are left because, you know, honestly, wealthy people had those planes. And then at the very end, I don't know if you saw that huge plane, that's the Hughes H4 Hercules. It's better known as the Spruce Goose. So that's Howard Hughes's, you know, he was a big ambitious guy, so he said, I'm going to build the biggest plane ever made. And forever and ever, this was the biggest plane in the world. And it only flew once for 20 seconds. And we worked very closely with the museum. There's a museum in Oregon called Evergreen Museum. It's part of the Smithsonian organization. And they have the plane. So they let us in there, take photographs, they gave us tons and tons of feedback, and they're so happy because this is going to be the first time the Spruce Goose really flies. So it's going to be cool.
That is really, really amazing. I'm not sure if that's the one, but I want to touch a little bit on the legacy, and maybe this is some of the moments that captured this. 40 years of flight sim. What has fans coming back to the flight simulator like every day?
To me, I mean, we talk about this as a team all the time. To me, it really is like the fundamental truth is that the flying is a human dream. And it's been a human dream for a long time. I honestly think people looked at the sky, looked at the birds and said, man, you know, I wonder what that looks like. And the dream, when Bruce Artwick started all this, the dream was go anywhere, look at anything, see it from that very unique perspective of flying. And we stayed true to that. The franchise stayed true to that. And I think that dream is very much alive and still shared. And now with this new version,
o zerado oficial. Max, o esquema é consolidar, o esquema é ser consolista e jogar tudo em todos os consoles. Não, o ideal é isso. O problema é a grana, né, cara? Ah, vou comprar um Series X, 5,5 conto. Vou comprar um Play 5, 5 conto. Só aí já é 10 conto, cara. Aí você fala, vou pagar a Plus, 350 pau, mais Game Pass, 250 pau. Mais 550 pontos. Cara, você vai gastar uns 11 mil para bancar os dois serviços de rent game, mais os dois consoles. Você tem que ter... Cara, a gente às vezes fala meio sem noção, né? Velho, um console de videogame é 5 mil reais. Cara, a gente tá falando de 5 mil reais, é muita grana, velho. É muito dinheiro, cara. A maior parte dos meus amigos ainda tá no Xbox One, Play 3, Malemar quanto tem o Play 4, cara. Não, Switch sem condições. Ô, Nakata, sério, mano. É feio falar isso, mas Switch, pelo preço dos jogos, tudo aqui, eu sei que é foda, mas emulador no PC, cara. Não dá, cara. Aí é muito. A Nintendo não tá nem aí pra nós, cara. Tudo caro pra caramba, em dólar. Mano. Nintendo não vou pegar, não. Switch, não. E a maior parte dos indies fodas que tem pra Nintendo, tem no Switch, tem no PC, então pega um Steam.
Mine is Seoul. Like I've never been there. Korea. Like I want to fly over that.
I spent a month in South America.
Tá com quanto tempo o seu Series X, o Emerson?
I now have a sense what Suriname looks like. I had no earthly idea, right? So, but it actually sort of this itch to travel, especially during the
Quanto tempo você comprou? Um ano?
That really helped me, and it really brings the planet closer to you. It's great.
It does, and there's nothing like taking your Halo Pelican and hover over your own street in Munich. I can just recommend that. So the important question, of course, when will fans be able to hop into the cockpit to take off with the 40th anniversary edition?
Yeah, I mean, so the 40th anniversary edition is releasing on November 11th.
Teste,
so
som.
Now. It's a full box of chocolate.
Voltou.
So we talked about some planes. So it has 12 new planes. It has 14 heliports, 10 air glider airports. It has 4 classic airports.
Nossa, vai ficar essa... É pra quem curte o Flight Simulator, né? Explicando as melhorias técnicas que eles vão trazer, o que trouxeram, que quiseram, deixar de fazer. Pra mim, essa parte é... Pô, se for 6 horas de evento com essas embromation vai ser foda. Vou tancar, não. O que? Você não mandou pintar a sua cara na faceplate dele? Então nem vira vender. Tinha que estampar a sua cara lá, mano. Fazendo joinha ainda.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, for coming here. And as you always say at the end of your trailers, the sky is calling.
Yeah, see you in the skies. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before we hear from the
tá perdido, hein, fia? Ó!
Before we hear from the folks behind Planet of Lana,
tá perdidona, cara.
Reimagine of Boston in 1925.
A maior perdida que sai em tiroteio.
Mystery, you inhabit the bootstraps of a dashing detective investigating a chilling murder with a demon as your partner. It's the classic kind of good cop, demon cop routine. It's full of puzzles, an eye-catching art style, great action gameplay, and a plot that will have you at the end of your seat check out.
Também acho, Daniel. Divide, coloca um evento dinâmico, trailer gameplay, o outro para detalhes técnicos. Então começa com os trailers e depois passa para as entrevistas e tal. É que se fizer isso aí, ninguém assiste, né? Os caras vão ficar falando sozinho lá pra 3% da audiência. Ninguém quer ver isso aí. Blá, 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 blá. Talvez tenha alguém que queira, mas minoria.
What secrets did he take to his grave?
Glad you came back, my beautiful canvas.
Sei lá.
Coming up next is Plague Tale Weekrim, but first, Charlie is standing by with our very own Aaron Greenberg, and I have a very special question for Aaron.
Aceita meu, uma
Show us
pinguinha.
your nails.
Just like gaming is for everyone, so is getting your nails done in the Xbox controller colors. Thank you, Maxi. That was so great. And now I've learned about shellac.
It's a whole process, right? And
I feel like I'm in a secret beauty.
Esse cara também foi super simpático na BGS, velho. Tirei foto com ele também.
Phil next, a trends, maybe.
I'm in. Who's next? Let's do this. Let's get the Xbox nails trending.
Absolutely, we're going to do it. Right, to the here and now. How does it feel being back at Gamescom after 3 years?
Quinta-feira de manhã, cara.
Community?
Mas daí, terça-feira que vem eu vou num show do Iron Maiden. Na terça-feira, velho, show do Iron. Aaron Greenberg.
We love the games, we love the products, but the memories we create with fans are ones that last forever. And to finally, after 3 years, to be back here is really special.
It really is. Talking of memories, do you have any favorite ones? And you can't say talking to me 3 years ago either. See, that was great.
Planted.
Fala aí, Milão. Tá ansioso, Milão?
We have done FanFest. That's always been kind of the highlight of Gamescom. Fans here in Germany, fans from all over Europe come.
Fala aí, morro de inveja, hein? Além de eu ir no show do Iron Maiden, ainda vou com o Milão, mano. Matar vocês de inveja, cara. Ô, o Milão da Massa vai também. Fala aí, Milão, é nóis, hein? É, terça-feira agora. Tá nem dormindo. Morro de inveja. Além de eu estar indo num show do Iron, ainda vou com o Milão, mano. Ah, tô podendo mesmo, né? Puta merda, hein, Milão? Você é foda. Tinha que ser no sábado. Eu vou, mas vou depois do Iron. Além de estar no show do Iron, eu também acompanhado ainda. Ai, que maravilha. Tô podendo, hein? Milão da Massa. Valeu, tio. Valeu. E Chamila não tá nem dormindo, mano. Eu tô porque meus treinos não deixam eu ficar sem dormir, eu tô muito podre.
Exactly. A punishing childhood game for everyone.
Yes.
Vamos tirar umas par de fotos lá em Milão, fala aí.
The secret bit over there. Yeah, you have to get into that.
Tá, eu seguro. Eu vou estar lá pra isso, né? Fela da puta. Miserável. Segura aqui minha bolsa. Pra nós, que delicado. Soltou a bolsa. Fala, bicho, é. Esse é o Milão. Super feminina que nós conhecemos. Olha lá, ó. Virou o monstro do pântano no meio do monte, mano. Com toda a delicadeza, né? Dá a bolsinha assim, a hora que entrega a bolsa, já sai chifre, dá acidente, faz garra, né? Porra, vira um bicho no meio do povo lá. Fico olhando essa estrutura aí, tô imaginando a BGS sem o Xbox lá, cara. Vai ficar muito esquisito, velho. Muito esquisito. Pô, devia ter comprado umas 2 cervejas. A gente ficava aqui trocando uma ideia. Vocês falando com essa cabeça na tela. Ah, nem vai ter aqui. Eu vou me registrar na FanFest pra ir como? Teleporte? Ah, mas pensa bem, o Emerson. Pensa pelo lado bom. BGS vai estar menos poluída, né? Vai estar mais saudável. Infelizmente, né, que não tem nada a ver com a marca é sensacional, mas, né, tem esse lado aí da... Vai ter uma BGS mais cheirosa. Mas é uma pena, eu gostaria que a Microsoft estivesse lá também, cara. Estou quase ligando meu videogame, botando um pip aqui pra ir jogando. Não iria como, Daniel? Resta saber agora se a Sony vai, né? Aí já pensou? A Sony também não vai. É foda. Aquele buraco, aquela cratera no meio da BGS, né? Tipo, caiu um meteoro aqui, mano. Ah, eu adorei esperar 6 horas pra ficar vendo essas converseiras. Mostra o que importa, cara. Vai lançar jogo e tal, e esses bate-papo aí deixa pro final, pô. A gente quer ver jogo, quer ver... Ô, caramba. Ah, mas vai! Uma barata, outra assim me aparece. E há aqueles caras que na internet detonam, falam o que acontece, mas quando te vê na reta, é igual rato quando vê gato. Te vê, abaixa a cabeça, faz que não viu, desvia do caminho. É muito engraçado, cara. Na internet fala, faz recorte de vídeo, dá print de conversinha, é o fodão. Chega na hora, é igual rato, te vê, muda de caminho. Eu sei porque já aconteceu outras vezes. Não espero diferente. É nessas horas que você vê se o cara tem caráter, se ele tem dignidade pra mostrar o que ele é de verdade, como ele representa na internet ou não. Mas não vai rolar, eu já sei, já nem tô... Cara, tô indo lá pra curtir, velho. De verdade. Curtir, rever alguns amigos reais, de verdade mesmo. Curtir lá o que der pra curtir, ir na área de indies, visitar outros stands de fabricantes, partes de hardware. Se a Sony tiver, eu vou lá no stand do Play. Pena que a Microsoft não vai estar. Mas quanto a isso aí, eu já conheço já. O foda é ser foda aqui, ó. Aqui são foda. Nisso aqui, saiu disso aqui, acabou. E agora? Bora. Que isso, Mi? Hoje. Opa.
Far across the sea, an island called.
Putz, cara.
Nothing ever stays nice. It always turns bad.
Things aren't always nice. You can change them.
Pô, o primeiro desse jogo foi espetacular. Não espero menos desse segundo. Esse jogo é espetacular, cara.
A Plague Tale Requiem picks up a few months after the end of Innocence, right around the first days of summer. Amicia and Hugo are headed south, along with their mother Beatrice and the young alchemist Lucas, reaching places still spared by the devouring plague, the raging wars, and the rabid rats that are running rampant in the north.
Is that a fair?
Beneath the warm sun of 14th century Provence, the Daroons are almost able to enjoy a normal life.
You're great!
But for a recurrent
Essa qualidade podre do vídeo não faz jus à qualidade gráfica desse jogo, velho. Que pena.
It's a two-teeth island.
How come nobody noticed their disappearance?
O primeiro jogo me surpreendeu de forma absurda. Eu não consegui encontrar defeito no jogo, velho.
One day, the macular illness that's been dormant inside Hugo awakens, and the dreaded living nightmare begins again.
Fala, Thiago, bom dia. E aí?
In the wake, Amicia finds herself with no other choice but to trust her brother's dreams and head further south towards the elusive island before he's consumed by the terrible macular affliction.
The bite, yes. They've locked the arena down. They let them die here.
Starting all over again.
Her mind is made up. She will find a cure in what dreams and prophecy may hold.
Get used to it.
With almost no one they can trust.
This is your life now.
Amicia and Hugo must traverse land and water as restless forces stand against them.
Amicia, you're all right.
After the events of last winter, Amicia is hardened, experienced, and when backed against the wall, can be surprising.
Será, cara? UB Plus?
With several new tricks up her sleeve, she is now able to freely choose between
Nossa, isso ia ser uma cartada da Microsoft pesada, hein? Pesada. Ai, coceira o nariz, credo.
Hugo wants more than ever to help his big sister and not hinder their progress.
We need to leave or we'll doom everything.
The macula within him is a double-edged sword that has deepened his connection with the rats.
They can feel people's blood. Now I can too.
This powerful ability can decimate entire squads of soldiers. It takes a severe toll on Hugo every time he uses it.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Thankfully, their journey brings not only hardship, but also unexpected friends. These colorful characters help the Daroons carry their terrible burden.
It's not my first time.
While offering unique skills and resources to bring them closer to their elusive goal.
Move as soon as he's gone. It never lost. Got it.
For Amicia and Hugo, the road ahead will test the limits of what they can endure on all levels, and just how far they're willing to go. Reaching the island is only the first step to truly understanding the terrible affliction that's stricken their family. As the lines between reality, fantasy, and fate dissolve, keeping it together and finding the cure to save Hugo will be nothing short of a miracle. But Amicia has hope, and hope is the last thing lost.
Others are burned in it.
If you kill, be ready to be killed. No.
A Plague Tale Requiem releases October 18th on Xbox Series.
Ó, Day One no Game Pass, velho.
Wow, what a journey. I don't know about
Muito
you,
foda
but
isso.
I've been eager to get back to the rat-infested France of the
Economizar ainda mais nos jogos, é. Sim, sempre fazem as promoções fodas, cara.
Kevin Chateau, game director for A Plague Tale Requiem, releasing this fall. Kevin, thank thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
It's such a good day. So we're going to dive right into that trailer. As it mentioned, this is the follow-up to the smash hit Innocence. So I was wondering if you can catch us up to where Amicia and Hugo are up to now.
So the game takes place in the 14th century southwest France. They came from the southwest, but they had to flee because of the event.
Sotaque estranho, cara, né?
And so we joined them 6 months after the event of the first
Um pouco britânico e um pouco eu não tô conseguindo descobrir de onde que é, cara. Não identifiquei. Esse jogo é muito bem feito, velho. Nosso primeiro foi espetáculo.
Lovely. So, for those who haven't, or people who are waiting to jump right into Requiem, I should say, but maybe they've not played Innocence, would you say it's recommended?
Nossa, Day One no Game Pass, cara. Putz, menos um jogo que você precisa gastar aquela fortuna. Já paga o Game Pass, já vai estar lá.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's we have not rebooted, but rethink everything in the game. So it's a brand new game. We have done everything to onboard everyone joining.
O cara pica o IBA,
So even if you haven't played the first one, you can jump in. It will be good for you.
Absolutely. So I was actually wondering if you could talk a little bit about the sort of accessibility and the onboarding that you've done and what you had in mind during development. What are some of the key changes coming to Requiem, especially for those who loved the original as well?
So there's a lot of new things. Of course, you've seen it in a trailer. In terms of gameplay, it's much more wider, bigger, much more open than the first one was.
Yeah, I picked up on that actually,
Yeah, it was quite narrow, the first one, so we were able to open it even further and offer new tools to Amicia, like the daily crossbow she has now, or the knife she can use.
Me senti ofendida.
Yeah, and it's quite different for her because now she's using war weapon. It was not something she was doing in the first one, so she's ready to deal with death much more than
very ready. Deal with death and deal out death by the looks of the trailer. So you mentioned the word new a lot, and I think it's important to point out that this is the new console generation that we're working with at the moment. So what kind of shiny current gen features can we expect to see in Requiem?
So there's many things. Again, the first one that come into my mind is we have pushed the facial expression, the mocap event. It was a brand new thing for us. We had no mocap on the first one.
Falando que mais destaque nas expressões faciais, utilizando o poder da geração atual, no console novo e tal.
So we've improved this aspect of the game, and visually it's much more stunning than the first one was. We wanted a larger game, as I was saying, but we needed then more light because light is a key element of our gameplay.
I love the way every new thing brings its own problems that you had to overcome.
So we had a much more wider area, so it means more light. Light is very expensive in terms of performances for the game, so it was a big challenge. But also, of course, wider space. We need
got to
more
fill it
bats.
with something.
So we jump up from 5,000 to 300,000 rats on the screen.
That's a lot of rats to begin with. So sorry, say that one more time. That's 5,000 to 300,000 rats.
Yeah, that's it.
De 5.000 para 30.000, cara.
To put in the video game. Well, I was going to say, well, thanks to all of those rats, it does mean that when we say that Amicia and Hugo have been through quite a lot, I think it's a little bit of an understatement, especially now. And at the end of the day, they're actually still children, if there are anyone out there who didn't know that much background from the story. So how do you go about showing their relationship in an authentic way after everything that they've been through together?
It's hard to do that because they've been through a lot. They have experience. They were almost dead sometime, and a lot of people around them died. So they have to grow up, be much more mature than what they should be at their age. It's super hard to build up a story and convey a convincing dialogue for children. Fortunately, the team is quite old now, and
age is but a number.
But and we a lot of us have children, so we can be inspired by them and try to feel the best way to convey children emotion to the players.
It must be a very difficult one to do, though. I mean, as a parent myself, I can only reasonably say that I hope I never see my children go through what happens in that game. So what's that sort of like to go, yeah, we're reflecting the childlike experience in the game, but also committing terrors to them?
Yeah, it's this is something we have no inspiration to take from, because again we
you don't want to be inspired by that too.
No. Of course no.
Yeah, well, fair enough. We're going to focus a little bit now specifically on Amisha. As in Innocence, we saw her wielding a crossbow. She's way more prepared, she's way more confident, dangerous, and all round, I think you'll agree, a bigger all-round hero to Hugo. So how do her tactics change in Requiem, and what does that mean for the people playing as her?
So as prepared is the right word. She's ready. She don't want just only to survive or to escape. She's ready to fight if she needs to.
Absolutely.
But she's not forced to. So the player can choose the way he will approach things.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So he can go full stealth if you want. He can go full combat. Everything is still there from the first one. So, but right now you can choose.
Menu grande, né? Menu de seleção de habilidades bem grande na tela.
It's not that,
não é muito comum ver isso hoje em dia.
The way you will approach things.
Yeah, and by full combat, you mean? I mean, we saw some stuff from the trailer, like all-out combat, right?
Yeah. You can burn people, you can use the crossbow to kill them instantaneously, or you can use the knife to silently kill them. It's all there.
It's absolutely all there, and I think that all comes together and making the experience so much more cinematic, which I want to talk about now, because the other thing that's so fantastic about the title is the voice acting, and I think that becomes essential when you want to convey emotion.
A dublagem do primeiro também foi
excelente. So I'd love to share a little bit of insight about the development process, working with the voice actors, and getting to the voices and the emotion that we hear in that trailer.
So it's funny because it's something that people don't really know, but when we are working on the game for several years, we don't work with voice actor instantaneously. So for like 2 or 3 years, we work with text-to-speech, so robot voices.
Caraca.
And for an emotional game, it's a bit hard because
and it takes you out a little bit.
Yeah, it's like when you use your smartphone, it's a flat voice with no emotion, no punctuation, nothing that makes really sense. So it's really hard to keep your focus on the story, on even sometimes to understand what is the purpose of sequence. It's after 16 hours of playthrough, you're like.
O trabalho da parte emocional na dublagem ficou para depois da construção visual.
I will say first of all, I would love to see that version one day. It does sound wonderful. So do you want to? What was the process like working with the voice actors?
So when the voice actor arrived, it changed everything because we were able to work again with Charlotte McBurley and Logan Hannan, which were the actor for Amisha and Hugo from the first one. And we were so in love with their acting. It was a game changer for us to have them back in the game. When they arrived, their voices arrived in the game changed.
I was going to say, I imagine it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation with voice acting. Who informs the character? Is it you guys designing the character, or does the voice actor come in and actually completely change a scene?
Actually, it's both. We prepared everything, and they react to what we've wrote, and they say, no, I think Amisha should say it like that, or a bit more like that. So we change that on the fly with them, and adapt the game sometime to their feedback to make it even better and even more accurate. They are still children, and we are not anymore. So
I love that they have their own feedback as well. It's their character, right? It's their character that they're conveying. So big love for them to feed him back as well. Right, well, lastly, for anyone who is watching this segment out there who can't wait to play Requiem in October, which, by the way, is day one on Xbox Game Pass, and maybe you're not here in Gamescom as well, I'd love to know what you would like to tell the folks at home about Requiem.
So we're super glad to have it day one on Game Pass, because it means that a lot of players will be able to try the game and to give us feedback, because I really want to see their reaction. You know, I can't wait to see that. We've built up the games in several years, and we write up this big story, and I really want to see people's reaction to that.
And the community have been really close since the first time. So
and it's thanks to them that we were able to do the sequel. So we're super.
Microsoft é foda nesse sentido, né, cara?
Device of rats, 300,000 of them to be precise.
300,000 rats of love.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm a massive fan of series.
Day one no Game Pass, cara.
Get my hands on it.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. But when it comes to self-care, you can't beat a rewatch of the Disney classics, right? I know I certainly can't. Yet in recent years, many of us have also sought comfort in virtual worlds. Millions of players have found solace in games that allow us to customize islands, build unique homes, and share virtual spaces with friends when we can't actually see them in person. Our next trailer builds on that idea and takes it to a whole new world, so to speak. Here's an all-new look at Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Hello, everyone. I went on a wonderful adventure today in Dreamlight Valley, and I want to share it with you. It started with my favorite song on the radio. Don't you just love when that happens? It put me in the best mood ever. So,
o cara salientou o lance de mais pessoas terem acesso ao jogo logo no início, por causa de ele estar no Game Pass, né? E que ele quer muito ter um feedback da comunidade e ver a reação da galera com relação ao jogo, né? Engraçado, ele vai estar no Game Pass e isso dá uma vantagem muito foda para a plataforma, né? O jogo já está no serviço de rent a game, vou chamar dessa forma, basicamente no lançamento. Isso é muito foda, cara. Sem falar que um jogo desse não vai custar menos que uns 250 conto.
My stomach started to rumble, so I headed back over to the
sério?
plaza. And we were ready to cook. I always learn something new with Remy. There are so many recipes to try to create the perfect Disney-themed meal.
Não!
Here we go! I even whipped up an extra and shared it with Christoph. After brunch, the weather was just
Galera, se não tem rerun no título, não tá aquela mensagem verde enorme na tela, não é replay. Coisa mais fácil de saber se é replay. Tem uma legenda verde enorme na tela, escrito rerun, replay ali, ó, passando. Se não tem aquilo, não é replay. É impossível de errar. Olhou na tela, viu que tá lá aquela legenda verde enorme, escrito replay, rerun, é replay. Se não tiver, não é. É automático aquilo. Quando eu coloco replay, é aquela legenda automática. Fala aí, Light Dark. Bom dia, cara.
Merlin had quite a story to tell about it. I put up the perfect hangout spot and I invited Ariel to hang out because happy moments are always better when you share them with friends. It really was a perfect day in Dreamlight Valley. Pre-order Disney Dreamlight Valley now.
O Drake vai mostrar jogo por jogo ali, que mostrou naquela listagem, né, no cronograma. E talvez entre essas apresentações aí ocorra algum tipo de revelação legal. Eu fico olhando agora pro grupo aqui do Telegram. Ô Milão, o Milão tá aí? Posso mostrar pra galera aqui na live? Ai, que merda, viu? Ai, que foda. A calcinha toda torta, camisa, olha que relaxo. Que relaxo, velho. Você é louco. Sai sem as orelhas, né? A hora que volta do bagulho, não tem uma orelha, faltando 2 dedos na mão, né? O olho fechado tá aberto. Só que eu tenho que, a dor é que tá muito pequenininha a imagem. Eu tinha que salvar ela. Pra poder... Fica pequena pra ver. A Mila falando aqui... Ixi, cara, cadê?
Ahoy there! Welcome. My name's Adam Park, and I'm head of brand and licensing at Rare. And I am joined today by 3 members of the Sea of 3 crew. Sea of 3 crew? I mean, they're quite...
Alguém mudar a ponta tela, eu mostro. Eu tô sem a source aqui nessa cena.
So we've got Joe Needs, executive producer on Sea of Thieves. We've got Mike Chapman, who's our creative director.
Porque é o seguinte, ali, eu perguntei, foi pensando alto, eu não perguntei se pode, perguntar de pode mesmo. Porque tem uma exposição ali, né, Emerson? Então se eu mostro um negócio desse na live, por isso que eu perguntei, entendeu? Não foi por causa de... Será que eu posso mostrar isso aí? Porque tem uma exposição meio... Entendeu? É por isso que eu perguntei. Aí você mostra, ai, você expôs nudez do canal. Olha o seu vídeo sendo bloqueado. É por isso que eu perguntei, entendeu? Tem meio que uma parte de uma bunda aparecendo ali. Aí você põe isso na live, aquele strike, né? Por isso que eu perguntei. Esse é o problema. Então, mas ali não tá tapado, né? Ali tá...
2019, but it feels so much longer. Yeah. Like the first live show for us since 2019. So exactly what Joe said, feeling the buzz from the fans, and we get to take that energy back to the studio to keep making this easy.
Eu acho que eu vou ter que fazer um quebra-galho, uma romena aqui.
Official CFP's event and first Gamescom in general. It's amazing. Like obviously we had a little taste of this end of July with Sotfest. Yep. And that was wonderful to see the fans in person after so long, and for the first time for I think a lot of us. And now we've brought it to Gamescom, and some of them are here, and you're seeing them again and recognizing them, and you get that real sense of what it means to them to be a part of this community.
And we've got all sorts going on the stand. So go and show off. So we got tattoo stands. We've got
Gamescom linguiça.
Which people can tune into. You can come and win things, photo ops, meet the team. So it's great being back. But, so obviously it's been 3 years since we've done anything like this. What's gone on generally, Mike? I'm going to ask you to start with.
Teste, aí voltou. Meu áudio às vezes buga, aí tem que desabilitar e habilitar de novo e ele volta a funcionar essa praga. Na Twitch tem, mas é que eu tô... A questão não é só a Twitch, né? Eu tô online na Twitch, no YouTube, na The Live, na Trovo, no Xvideos. Sei lá, cara. Na Globo? Na Globo não. No Xvideos eu tô, mas na Globo não. Mentira, não tô no Xvideos também não. Aí, né?
Thank you, sir. Just keep going. Yeah, yeah. And one of the big ones was what happened with the Pirates Live. So working with Disney, we built all of that during the pandemic.
Aí um jogo que eu, putz, cara, nunca me chamou atenção, velho. Sério.
Allowed us to get through what was a very hard time, but come through it stronger as a team, and we're more passionate than ever.
And obviously, Joe, you joined Sea of Thieves during the pandemic. How has it been, like that dynamic of actually coming into the studio?
It's the best thing. Like you get a real sense since day one of how closely the team works together and how approachable everyone is. There's no one that you can't just drop a message to. But that translates over to the studio where we've got such a wonderful, creative, nurturing environment. But you can go and knock on the door of anyone or bump into them into the corridor and conversations spark from that. It's such a wonderful thing to now have that. Everyone's not just behind a screen anymore.
And how do you feel, Joe? I mean, again, it's been a long 3 years. We've achieved back somewhere like this with what we've done.
Well, honestly, like, I think we were talking about this kind of earlier, right? Like you were talking about during the pandemic, the team's all separated, but being back in the studio, you just get that energy that you feed off each other. You feed off kind of the team and the people around you. And coming to a show like this, you kind of get that same thing. Like I said, it's just you feed off the energy. Like, and even though we're exhausted and we've all got sore throats and I've got a cough sweet in my mouth at all times, like water on hand, like, but it is water, I promise. It's just... It just gives you this energy and desire and passion to just like want to go back to the studio and just pour it into your work and pour it into the game, and you kind of want to take it and bottle it, right, and then take it back to the whole studio like we always do when we go back. We take photos and videos and do a big presentation and really try and just get people to understand what it's like to meet the fans. Right?
Vou deixar aqui, ó, reduzido.
Afterglow. And this is what we'll experience next week. We'll have this wonderful Gamescom afterglow as we get to take that back to the studio, like Joe said, and put it into all the ambitious things we've got planned for this year and beyond.
Well, before we get on to that,
ou eu deixo a tela do jogo grande e a do bagulho pequeno. O que você acha melhor? Então, o Emerson aqui de Bauru falou a mesma coisa, Emerson. Que ele jogou com os brothers lá em co-op, foi divertido, mas não é pra mim não, sei lá. Então, o co-op parece que a galera se diverte bastante, Daniel. E aí, deixou a tela do jogo pequena ou a tela da Gamescom pequena? O que vocês acham aí?
an embodiment of who you are in this world and your pirate journey. Captaincy extends that pirate journey. It allows you to, as our community have often requested, to name your ship for the first time, to have this persistent identity for your ship. But beyond that, we're bringing in new progression elements. We're bringing in the captain's log, bringing ways that your session and the ship now feels like at home. So based on how you play, your ship represents who you are as a pirate. And how you play in So I think one of the most important things that has meant a lot to us seeing the reception is just seeing players go all
Caraca, mano. Fala, DK! Quem entra aqui no Discord pra falar umas borrachas enquanto tá essa encheção de linguiça dos infernos, cara.
It's one of those features. I think we were always going to do it. What made sense now was, and it kind of goes back to the question
da Gamescom pequena?
What's happened in the last 3 years. You think about how much richer that
Ô, fala aí, ó, o 2 que é a tela do jogo, o 2 que é a Gamescom, o que vocês querem menor aí, vai? Você vai correr, mano? Eita, nós. Um paladino. Eu tiro a foto com os fãs, cara. Ó, quase nada, já deixou sua vaga pro churrasco lá liberada, tá? Liberada não, reservada. Prepara lá porque, né? Você vai entrar na linguiça. Literalmente. Volta aí depois aí. Ah, eu vou deixar a tela do jogo pequena, mano. Vocês não decidem aí, ó. 2 que é a tela do jogo, 2 que é a tela do linguiça aí. É o Senhor das Carnes. Não tem o Senhor dos Anéis? Esse é o Senhor dos cortes de carne. Lords of the Meat. Total. É o Sauron da churrasqueira, mano. Eu não ia na BGS, mas como essa BGS vai estar mais higienizada... Não, nem por isso, porque o cabra aí me obrigou, né? Você vai sim, você vai sim, tá bom, eu vou. Valeu! Churrasco na sua casa nunca é simples, velho. Se você tiver a intenção de fazer um churrasco simples, a gente não deixa. This new progression system that allows you to unlock these trophies that represent who you are. There's the captain's voyages, so you can select exactly what you want to do and store all of the voyages that you could do on this bookcase immersively in the captain's cabin. As part of that as well, you can go to the shipwright and you can purchase resources right there from the outpost and have them delivered to your barrels. So the idea that if you are a ship captain in the Sea of Thieves, you can get your ship ready quickly, you can pick the adventure you're going to go on, and you can just walk straight on that ship and have your adventures. And then that adventure be persistent. There's that sense of consequence for your actions. Your ship showing the battle scars of all your adventures. You choosing to, maybe you want to keep that, maybe you want to role play with this kind of battle-scarred ship, or you can pay a small amount of gold to make the hull pristine again. So it really strengthens and really amplifies everything that's already unique about Sea of Thieves.
That second option is me. I have to pay to get it redone. I get in too many fights.
I love that though. I love the way it just allows players to be more uniquely who they are.
Yeah.
And like being out on the waves and looking through the spyglass and seeing all these ship names and how players have chosen to represent themselves. I mean, that's the magic, and it's enriched the sandbox of Sea of Thieves, and that's what we always want to do.
So, I'm going to go now. So we mentioned ship names. It's a biggie, big part of captaincy. You don't have to tell me, but I'm going to ask a couple of you this. What did you name your ships? And I'm going to start with you, Joe.
Tá sem som pra mim agora. Ah, mano. E aí?
Nice, and my galleon, which is the one that we use the most. So if you see it on the seas, come and say hello. That's the purple loadout, and that is the purple rain with the quartermaster sails.
Very good.
Nice.
And what about you, Mike?
Great. So I've got a sloop and a brig. So for the sloop is called the Golden Blade. Yep. So fans of Sea of Thieves will know that The silver blade, the burning blade, it's a big part of our lore. So the golden blade's a little tease for our fans maybe, someone that's really into the lore, but my sloop is called the Golden Blade and my brig is called Inferno. And that is actually a reference to One-Eyed Willie's ship, Inferno, in the 80s classic The Goonies.
And why, Mike, is the Goonies so unique? Because it's something that comes up, like, right back, and Joe?
It's because the 80s was the best decade, like, beyond, like, that's just
Hands
like,
down,
not
no
even-
contest.
Broadcast over. Done.
Yeah.
No, but you took the whole team to see the Goonies during development.
We did, we hired a cinema out, didn't we? We hired the Electric Cinema out in Birmingham, very lovely independent cinema. But yeah, had some...
Exceção
pirate-themed
de
cocktails that they put
linguiça.
on. And yeah, we took the whole team to see it because it was all about that camaraderie, that adventuring together, right?
In all seriousness, like it's hard not to get emotional when Joe, like, such an incredible memory of the development of Sea of Thieves, and in such a deep and meaningful way, when we went to watch the Goonies together, it felt like we as a team were about to embark on our own pirate adventure, like the characters in that movie. And we knew we wanted to create a game where the bonds between the crew felt like the bonds between the characters in the Goonies. They're on this pirate adventure, they don't know what's going to happen, they're going to be surprised by all the dangers and the perils that come their way. So the Goonies for us is just, it's a lovely memory, but it really feels in tune with the spirit of what Sea of Thieves has always been.
Yeah. So Joe, instead of asking you what your ship's called, no one's asked me.
No one's asked you.
Mine was Notorious BRG, which works verbally, doesn't work when written. But anyway, so what's some of the favourite ships you've seen, though?
So what I love about like the ship naming throughout the community is obviously people trying to make humorous things, try and make stuff that it's going to get a reaction or get a chuckle from people when they look through the kind of spyglass. And
Ó, vocês decidem, se quiser que eu diminua a tela da Gamescom aí, coloco mais som do jogo, vocês decidem aí. Se vocês pedirem, eu faço aqui.
AI threat in the world, but I just love it. I love that.
Óbvio, que não for nada obsceno,
there's so much of that, but that was one that stuck in my head that I think someone tweeted from God of Reddit.
De resto, nós topa
And what
tudo.
about you, Mike? Any favourites?
That is a great example, and obviously, how awesome players have got this new way to express their creativity in the Sea of Thieves world, and the fact that we can laugh about it together. But honestly, there's so many examples. But Usain Bolt, referencing Usain Bolt, the Olympic medalist, that made me chuckle.
I like the way that you felt like you had to explain that.
Well, I want to make sure. It's all right. The world-known Olympic medalist. But one that I just can't forget. It's a little bit dark, but she kept the house. That really made me chuckle.
That is good.
It's very clever. It's very clever.
And how about you, Joe?
Honestly, the really obvious ones are the ones that make me giggle. I ran across a galleon that was just, this boat is big.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Little salutes on your way.
Aye, it is.
Yeah.
And it's those ones that I like, but you see them, as you say, you've got the role-playing ones where they've gone for some variation on something we've got in game, or you've got just the funny puns that we've seen as well. And it's that creativity that you see, and you're like, you can almost judge what kind of pirate they are.
Yeah.
But not all the time, and I love that.
Yeah. No, you're right, actually, because if someone's got a humorous, like, this boat is big, you can imagine approaching them maybe and like having a laugh with them, right, and speak to them over, using the speaker choppy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right, actually. It really adds a kind of different sort of feeling, doesn't it, to
E
encounter
tem
other
uns
ships.
formas de ir direto já pro 3 mais rápido,
names.
cara. Porque esse aqui enrola muito o jogo.
This is where we would have top of the
Dá uma
pops
enrolada meio...
music for people of a certain vintage.
Go on.
Dun, 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 dun. Right.
Did you prep them to like? Okay.
Well, actually, does anyone want to guess? See if anyone can guess what number one is. I just flashed it at the camera. Like a tour. Like a tour.
That would happen.
We knew you'd do that.
I am a conservative MP.
I would say knowing our fans, knowing our community, and the role play of the world, and generally how things go down, I would predict something like the Black Pearl.
And you would be quite right, Mike.
Yeah, and
collect your gift.
There's a lot of black pearls out there, and how awesome is that?
And that's that original creativity and humour that we love to see from our players.
Come on, let people role play. Let people role play. Is what the game's all about.
And you go on, Joe.
If Black Pearl's in there,
Yes.
then there's got to be a Flying Dutchman.
You would be quite right.
Top 3?
No, actually, he's number 7.
Oh.
Joe?
Sorry? Usain
Eu sei que é ali, mas não
Correct.
There you go, that's in there.
So others in the top 10. I'm not going to do an exhaustive list, but we have Sloop Dog.
Sloop Dog, that's very good.
We have Y.
Why?
The letter Y.
I don't want an existential crisis while I'm sailing.
Why?
Why?
Why? Is this just what everybody's just like, why?
Don't come at me with those difficult
Don't
questions.
get, look
on
at
the
that.
way.
You looked really troubled by that, man.
I am troubled. I don't understand that one.
No.
And then, so,
If your ship's named Y, get in touch.
Yeah.
actually, yes, let us know why.
Please. And we hope it's not rude.
Yeah. So we've also got Unsinkable 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I
Titanic
thought there'd be
reference.
Titanic in there.
Okay. Yeah.
Jackdaw.
Jackdaw?
Yes. Real
1000 Sunny.
Oh, yeah,
Right, okay, yeah.
Going Merry and Queen Anne's Revenge are all in there as well.
Right.
So there we go. Right, so moving on then.
Were any of those Sea of Teasers? No.
We're just getting to that section now.
Yeah.
Fala, Telo. E aí, cara?
Adventure 6.
Tamo aqui.
So it's live right now. People are playing it as we speak. So can you, Mike, probably best, give us an overview of where this fits within the lore and the story? Where are we?
Yeah, so we're in a really interesting time in the Sea of Thieves now in our storytelling where it's set against the backdrop of these emerging factions in the Sea of Thieves. And our players will know that last year, as part of the Pirates' life, the Dark Brethren emerged, working with Davy Jones. And of course, Davy Jones got defeated because of the valiant efforts of our players. But the Dark Brethren are still around, with Amaranta, their new member, who's an ex-Sea Dog, and we've got everybody's favourite, Duke. So there's the Dark Brethren, there's of course the one and only Pirate Lord and his pirate legends. Players are often part of that. And we've got the third area of that, the third faction, which is of course Captain Flameheart. So Captain Flameheart and the Reaper's Bones and the Servant of the Flame. So what you're seeing now at this point in Sea of Thieves history is this factional war between these pirate groups that have all got their own vision for the pirate's life and the way they want the pirate's life to be in the Sea of Thieves. And unfortunately, poor Merrick has got himself ensnared in the middle of that.
Eu comecei a jogar. Deixei rolando essa falação aí. Pô, esses eventos na boa, cara. Esses eventos aí, os caras tinham que fazer. Dividir, ó, dinâmico. Primeiro parte de trailer, gameplay, depois esse blá 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 chato da porra, mano.
And you work together with crews to save Merrick. But one of the big things that players who played it will already realise is this actually brings a chapter of Merrick's story that began with the Hunger in Deep, continued with the Shrouded Deep.
Então, tá todo mundo esperando isso, né, o Light? Eu espero que sim.
The story's not over, but it brings this part of the story to a conclusion. So definitely worth experiencing that story because it's going to have important ramifications for the rest of it.
So I met someone yesterday and they were a massive fan of Merrick and they wanted to talk to you
about that. Isso é chato, hein? Tem como escapar disso aí, cara?
They came to this down here. They're down there.
Tem jeito de escapar disso aí?
But like, they were like, they wanted to talk to you. They had some questions. They had some questions.
Deals can always be struck, and I'm open to ideas, but it's Merrick or Shelley. Shelley the Crab. That's what it's going to come down to.
Is this a decision point?
That's next decision point.
It's the new Daddy or Chips.
Tentou me acertar ali ainda, cretino imaturo.
Daddy or Chips. That's a deep cut, that is.
Place your bet.
Place your bet. So, you're still chuckling at your own jokes, Joe?
That's what I do. That's
why he's here. So, how far are the adventures planned? And and without teasing anything or giving anything away, like, how far out are we looking? In terms of where do you know the story is, how far out?
Really far. So I think,
what's really?
Really far.
Well, I'd say, thematically, where we want to go and the direction we're heading into and how we want to represent the pirate's life in all these different ways in the Sea of Thieves. That is planned
Putz, esse negócio da Ubisoft aí, se rolar mesmo, vai ser foda, hein, cara?
At a high level.
Que legal.
In terms of absolute specifics of what the story beats are and exactly which characters are involved and in what way, that's planned out. I mean, it's probably a year and a half's worth of storytelling and adventures that we've got planned out. And we need to do that because that's the way that you make things meaningful and make it feel authentic to the Sea of Thieves. When we know what's going to happen to a character in a year and a half's time, we can start seeding things early. Start bringing players organically into that storytelling. And we love to do that because it makes everything feel more meaningful.
And how do you think the community engage with the lore?
Ah, desgraçado, ele me acertou no ar. Filha da puta, corno cretino.
Oh, yes, they do.
Ah,
I was going to say, you have to get those specifics right, because if one
Ele me acertou e me derrubou. Olha que desgraçado, cara. Ele me acertou no ar e me tirou do rumo da plataforma pra cair. Desgraçado. Deu no meio do grapple e me acertou. Que apelação miserável. Ai, mano. O jogo tá me dando uma brochada, cara. Essa andação aqui que não... O jogo era pra ter dinamizado essa parte. Isso aqui tá muito chato. Tudo bem que é roguelike, mas depois de ter jogado tanto, eu sinto que eu não tô evoluindo, cara. Fica estagnado. Você fica voltando muito atrás pra andar à toa, só pra chegar no teleporte e teleportar pra próxima fase. E isso é uma coisa que dá uma enrolada no jogo completamente desnecessária.
Sea of Thieves is this wonderful sandbox adventure game where you get to choose your own adventures. But we've always believed that the more meaning and purpose we can put into the world, the deeper we can make that world feel. The easier it is to immerse yourself in those adventures and that role play. So it's there, waiting, full of surprises for players that want it, but it's not a prerequisite.
Desde a dificuldade de deixar começar mais pra frente, agilizar esse lance do teleporte, você tem que ficar voltando lá no comecinho, aí tem que andar tudo até o portal, isso dá uma enrolada no jogo, assim que, mano, literalmente, mesmo para um roguelike, ele tá com uma cadência de desenvolvimento muito lenta, muito arrastada, e aí dá uma quebrada no interesse do player. Uma boa de uma quebrada. Tinha que dinamizar isso pelo menos com um teleporte pro estágio, deixar uma coisa mais... pelo menos já abriu o save, isso é bom.
I mean, you're right. Everything in the EU is canon to our story. So what players have seen before with the Tales of the Sea.
Pior que esse não é PVP não, cara. Isso é uma constatação óbvia. É tão óbvia quanto a sua chatice de pedir pra não colocar o jogo no começo, quando eu falei que ia jogar. Isso demonstra que nem você tá muito afim de assistir mais, entendeu? É fato. O jogo tá muito arrastado, ele se repete muito em coisas que não agregam. Ó, que nem aqui, ó. Aqui eu já vou seguir pro portal ali. É, não dá, ele trancou, eu sou obrigado a matar os bichos. Ai, deu lockdown.
Can we edit this out?
Lockdown, aliás.
So the community were able to decide the fate of the world. So we're going to start asking what side were you all on. So
I was ruined Golden Sands.
Ruined Golden Sands.
And you even have
that.
Não, é que o jogo tá foda mesmo, tá arrastado.
Save Golden Sands.
You're surrounded.
All the way. I'm ensnared in the sandwich.
Ele é muito arrastado, mesmo com roguelike. Esse lance, pelo menos de aproximar da parte que você chegou, devia ser um pouco mais ágil. Ele é muito arrastado.
He's a salty pirate that's lived his life in the Sea of Thieves, and people love that character. And I think for me, it's a more interesting story, and it's unbelievable that the community chose to go that way. The fact that they bonded together to take
brincadeira. Ô, o último tiro você me acerta.
Absolutely.
Obviously all on the side of Sea of Thieves.
Sorry?
I'm not going to move away from that. I was going to make a Sunak trust.
No, let's not do that.
But we won't do that.
Because that would be the most offensive thing you could ever do. To be...
But, alright, moving on quickly, did we have the result you
pra mim não perdeu a graça ainda não, pra mim o jogo foi muito bom, mas ele tá bem arrastado. Vai chegar um momento que se ele não der uma ferramenta pra dinamizar isso aqui, tipo, ó, cheguei no terceiro mundo, agiliza eu pegar teleporte, chega lá já. Não ficar dando esse rolê, achando portal, isso é muito arrastado. Até eu vou começar a achar que ele tá ficando arrastado. Quer dizer, já acho, né? Vai chegar uma hora que...
I think as a designer, you think so much about the psychology of players and how they'll react to certain things. And I genuinely believe personally that
vou colocar uma norma no chat. Não peça pra trocar de jogo e não fique chorando se o jogo estiver durando no canal. Aí o Emerson chora.
Which it will evolve now as the choice has been made. But I always thought people would side with the Reapers. So just blown away by the fact that didn't happen. I thought that was a lovely surprise, and it's going to be really interesting as players see throughout this year what's going to happen to Golden Sands now and how that's going to play out.
Yeah. And honestly, and I love knowing kind of what the next decision point is and where where we're leading to. Yeah. Like that is going to be another huge moment for our community to have to again make a choice, right? And the impact that's coming with that, like without teasing too much. But it's like, you know, later this year there's going to be another big one. Like I think bigger in terms of kind of emotional.
I think the emotional investment in the next one I think will be bigger.
Well, so I'm going to ask again. You've kind of preempted the question, but. So we're having another decision point. That's happening.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, right on the screen. That's
and it's a big one. But so that was my question. Like, if we were to like scale it based on the last one, is this bigger, similar? What can people expect?
Bigger. It's absolutely bigger. It cuts right to the core of some of the key characters in the Sea of Thieves. And we wanted to do that. We wanted to drive a big world change with Golden Sands. Obviously, we set that up with the first adventure, Treasure Island. And picking Golden Sands because it was a beloved outpost, beautiful palm trees, it's paradise. We knew that would trigger an emotional response for our players, but we've done that now. We've seen how players interact with it. We've learned some lessons about how to set up these type of live storytelling events. And now we're going to go even further. We're going to be even more ambitious with this second choice. Yeah. So look out for that.
And also mechanically, again, without spoiling it, but you've learned a lot from how we designed the first one and the activities people were doing and how we're going to be kind of like, I love what we've got planned there in terms of like just the activities people are going to be doing and how that's going to play out and how it's just, I think, going to make the whole Sea of Thieves feel so different during that time period.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It'll be a real moment in time. And Joe's right. We've deliberately in adventures so far done very different things. One's more focused on the pure gameplay. One's more focused on the storytelling. All these different set pieces because we're learning and we're going to take those learnings into the future adventures that we've planned out. We're already doing that.
And you've touched on it slightly there, but how is it planned? Like, in terms of production, as executive producer. In terms of production, as design director, like how do you kind of prepare for that decision point though? Like, you know, do we have both tracks ready to go, or is it more a case of, well, we assume this will happen, or we have a more neutral state?
That genuinely is probably one of the most complex things we've ever done.
Well, you got like 2 minutes.
But you've got to plan for both outcomes. We deliberately don't start building the bigger things because that would be an incredible waste.
Essas 12 armas de tiro só, isso é lixo desgraçado, gente.
So earlier
isso é
on, when
muito
I was
chato,
talking about the fact that we've got
manda uma arma
adventures
decente,
planned out for the next year and a
cretino.
half. There's almost a fork in the road there, where there's almost option A and there's option B, based on some of these community choices that we're planning. So it makes a complex job even more complex, but like so worthwhile to see that play out with
and Joe, just kind of, we're going to wrap up in a moment, but like from what you know of the next decision point, like do you think we're going to see that kind of groundswell from the community again?
I think they're gonna go wild for the next one. I think it's really exciting, and with that other decision point, they've seen how they can alter the world that they're playing in, and that most of them spend a lot of their time in. And I think this next one really is going to step it up, and I think we will see that resurgence of the passion that we saw in the last decision point, and then some.
So to wrap up, then, we're here for a couple more days. What can people expect, like from us at Gamescom?
Just come to the stand, basically. Like there's always going to be Sea of Thieves crew at the stand, right? And each day we have, like there's a meet and greet slot that we've tweeted out. I don't know when, but it is 5 o'clock today, 5 p.m. today?
5 o'clock today,
And then 1 o'clock, I think, every other day, I think. But, and then, you can come play, you can win the medallions, like you can watch the stream, but the whole point we're here is just to chat and meet with fans, right? That's why we brought so many people here. That's the energy we want. Come and give Mike feedback and questions about
specifically
everything.
On Merrick.
Yeah, specifically
on Merrick.
That is the privilege of being at a live show like this. Nothing energizes you more than talking to fans, feeling their passion, hearing their questions and their feedback. We don't just want to hear the good stuff, we want to hear the bad stuff. We want to learn, we want to make this service of Sea of Thieves and this pirate world the best it can possibly be. If you love pirates, Sea of Thieves should be the game for you. So we love nothing more than talking to our fans. We love the game as much as their fans do.
What a wonderful place to leave it.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
You didn't even ask any questions about Skull and Bones. What's that then?
What about, tell me about Skull and Bones, Joe.
Oh, we're out of time.
But no, so thank you. But this has been great. So thank you ever so much. And as Joe says, if you are here, do come down and see us.
Please do, honestly.
But if not, we'll see you on the seas.
Indeed, yes.
Thank you, Ring.
Bye.
Espero que dê uma arma decente.
Has fallen. Humanity is hanging on by a thread. But you know what? It's not all bad news, because our planet is full of badass dinosaurs. And seriously, who doesn't love a dinosaur? Seriously. In this exciting new glimpse at Second Extinction's full release, players get to explore more of Earth than ever before.
Nossa, falar de Age of Empires agora? Mais um que tipo... Olha lá, de novo, ó, veio a porra da arma de um tiro só. Enfia essa arma no cu, jogo cretino. Arma do caralho. Vai a merda essa arma da porra. Não quero essa merda não, cara. Manda uma arma decente. Mano, o jogo parece que é arquitetado mesmo pra te mandar só merda. Não vem um bagulho que tipo, ó, não, essa arma é da hora, vou usar. Só arma bosta, velho. Pô, isso dá uma desanimada assim, brutal. Olha, cara, só arma lixo, cara. Não vê uma coisa que presta. O que é que tá mostrando ali? O que é isso aí? Second Extinction, achei que era Ages, cara. Agora entra aí mais 3 horas de conversinha. Jogo de caçar dinossauro? Será? Caralho. Ixi, falaram aí que é quase tipo 6 horas, cara. Por isso que eu botei o jogo aqui, tô jogando aqui em tela. Opa. Fala, Léo! Bom dia, cara! Ah, o jogo do Pinóquio, de novo. Fala agora, Games. Bom dia, cara. A mesma coisa que já tinham. Mesma coisa, é.
The stage is set.
The light shines brightest in the darkest of times.
All right, buddy, I'm here for you. Don't worry.
Fulfill. Your destiny.
Hello, Charlie here with two of the brilliant and twisted minds from NeoWiz who created a game that's reimagined Pinocchio as a ruthless killing machine to cleanse a plague-infested world. Made by the studio behind beloved fantasy MMO Bless Unleashed and coming from the team of developers who worked on the absolutely awesome Monster Hunter World. I am super excited about this one. Please welcome Ji-won Choi and Jason Park.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
I told you they were twisted. It's lovely to meet you, whoever's underneath there. This is haunting. Truly haunting. Should we have a look and see if we can find the humans underneath? Yeah? Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. I'm going to do the slow reveal. Here they are. Jason and Ji-won. We have a joker.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
There they are. Amazing. They've joined us. Welcome. Now, when I think of Pinocchio, it doesn't quite look up to the trailer that we saw just now. So could you let us know where the idea of Pinocchio as a killing machine actually came from?
Our team is called NAF, and this is the first time we've developed a single-player console game. So we needed a way to get our name out there. In order to stick in the minds of the people, our strategy was to choose a subject that was very well known, but transform it into something completely original. We eventually chose the adventures of the Pinocchio, but that wasn't a quick decision. We first thought about what features we wanted our Souls-like game to have. The first, don't ever reference dark fantasy or medieval themes. The second, the story shouldn't be childish and we should be able to enjoy it as adults. And last, the game should be full of adventures and unforgettable characters. This is natural relevance to Pinocchio because it matched the conditions we set. I had loved Pinocchio when I was a child, But I was shocked when I read it again more carefully recently. The Adventures of the Pinocchio is definitely not a story for children, but rather like an R-rated movie for adults. It was a real pleasure to take the fantastic source material and create our own original story. Totally free.
I bet it is, and now we're at Gamescom showing it off to the world.
O jogo parece que vai ser muito foda.
We prototyped the initial idea of making a game based on the story of Pinocchio. Honestly, I was not convinced at all. I was thinking that Pinocchio is a story for just for kids, not sure for soul-like games. However, even though I read Pinocchio story a long time ago, I remember it vaguely, so I went to the bookstore, bought the book, and read it again. And what I've learned is that Pinocchio is not just a fairy tale. It's more like a reflection of human nature, and filled with a lot of unique and attractive characters. That's when I realized we need this is something we have to do, revitalizing this amazing story as a game.
I think it sounds like I might need a reread of Pinocchio then. But until then, do you want to give us a bit of a deep dive of the story and the world that your Pinocchio inhabits?
As you already know, Lies of P is based on the original story of Pinocchio, which is actually quite brutal. And while the main characters in Lies of P are from the Pinocchio, our game's story is completely different and filled with new events. For example, Lies of P takes place in the imaginary city of Quer, on where petrification disease is spreading and causing a lot of conflict. And while you meet a lot of familiar characters from the Pinocchio, they want to be anything like you remember. We introduced the Black Rabbit Brotherhood before, but I'd also like to tell you about Antonia, who appears at the beginning of the trailer. In the original story, Antonia is actually Antonio, Geppetto's friend. That is all I can leave it today, though. I will save the rest for the future.
I was going to say, I definitely don't remember these masks from my childhood, it's got to be said.
So me too. My favorite is Black Rabbit Brotherhood. They're also in the original story. Poor Black Rabbit holding a coffin on their shoulders. They're in Lies of P. They are not just rabbit. They are brutal warriors. They are still carrying a coffin and always trying to squeeze you into it. I really want to see how you guys survive when they're hunting you.
So, in order to go up against them, I have seen from the trailer so far that there are some ridiculous weapons, and you can even take some enemies to the wood shop with them, if I saw that correctly. So talk us through the combat we can expect from Lies of P, and how similar is it to the Souls-like games we've been seeing recently?
I can confidently say that Lies of P is full of a unique and one-of-a-kind battle system. And the first system I'd like to talk about is the weapon combination system. Weapons are divided into two parts, the blade and the handle, and can be combined in countless ways. Each blade and the handle have their own weight, motions, pictures, and
variedade bacana de armas, né? Monte de tipo de arma. Isso é legal pra caramba.
Players are free to mix and match and create the perfect weapon for them. It should be fun to try out more than 100 of possible combinations.
Wow.
And another unique system in Lies of P is the Legion Arm system, which you probably already saw.
Aparentemente, ele vai ficar muito perto do gameplay do Bloodborne, assim. Tá mais pra Bloodborne do que pra Dark Souls, cara. Até porque ele tá usando muito o golpe de aparar, né?
It'd be fun to choose the right Legion Arm for the situation you are in.
Now, I had a chance to play it earlier, by the way, I'm just going to say, and it is so difficult. So I just want to let anyone know out there that this game is so difficult, you are going to absolutely love it. But to answer the elephant in the room, obviously the original Pinocchio game had a big emphasis on his nose growing with every single lie. So I have to ask, does this element of the Pinocchio story play into Lies of P at all?
First of all, I think that lying is the most important aspect of the original story. Yeah.
Agreed.
And when you really think about it, yeah, humans are capable of lying, and that can also be proof of their humanity. Yeah. This also means that we approach the concept of lying in a completely different way than the original. Yeah. Think about it. Is there any more human than using lies to achieve something?
Fala, Cristóvão. Bom dia, cara. E aí? Você tá bem?
One has to lie, and that is reflected in the game by
Perdeu nada, viu, Cristóvão? Pouca coisa que realmente... Muita conversa e enrolação.
As for what this might do to his nose, I can spoil it for you. And you need to find it out for yourself. But I can guarantee you will not expect anything.
I tell you what, when the full game comes out then, the first thing I'm testing is the lying.
Yeah, in the game you can lie if you'll be a human, but always remember, the Black Label Brotherhood is always looking for a chance to put all liars into the coffin.
Right, okay, moving swiftly onwards from that then. There had to be a ton of people putting a lot of time into Lies of P to pull the strings, pun intended, to get a game like this off the ground. So can you talk about the development process, and were there any difficulties actually getting people to buy into this reimagining?
Actually, in Korea,
Fala, Gans. 100%, cara. Tão bem. Ótimo, cara. Tô com um pouco de sono. Dormi pouco. Pra acompanhar esse evento. Linguiças Edition. Né?
But this was unavoidable.
Ok.
Despite these challenging circumstances, the fact that our team has a lot of developers who already have it.
Fala, Henrique. Bom dia, cara. Seja bem-vindo aí pelo YouTube. Cara, eu acabei de falar isso. Parabéns por platinar o Bloodborne. Eu não sei se eu consegui a platina dele, mas ele tá mais próximo de Bloodborne do que de Dark Souls, cara, pelo que eu vi até agora. Tá mais com cara de Bloodborne.
And I'm sure they are so proud of you both sat here today representing the game as well. So shout out to you two in particular.
Yeah, it is the first time for us to make a single player.
Não, acho que é o contrário. Acho que é o contrário. Será que é eu não entendi. Essa parte eu não estava prestando atenção. Agora precisa saber o que isso vai mudar, né? Nossa, Souls-like. Foda, né, cara? Miyazaki foi foda. O cara lançou uma franquia que deu vida a um gênero, mano. Isso é muito louco. É raro isso.
We only have one playable character, which is easier to make because online games normally have more than 5.
Very true.
But this one playable character, I mean Pinocchio, requires, I guess, 10 times more animations than the online games.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, Pinocchio uses a lot of different types of weapons, and each weapon requires total unique animations of total set of unique. Total unique set of animation. So I have to admit, our initial plan was off in terms of estimating the cost of the animations.
Yeah.
So if you look at our studio, and probably you can see our animated artists and combat designers yelling at each other and arguing all the time. We are still in this chaos, but anyway, we are enjoying it, and definitely we'll be better at planning it next time.
Well, I really appreciate that you brought the chaos to us here in Germany, but before we run out of time, I do want to give you two the floor to share anything you want with everyone out there about Lies of P before its release.
Actually, we didn't expect the Lies of P to get this much interest and love from gamers. We really want to thank you all for the tremendous level of support. We'll do our absolute best, and are sure that you'll be mesmerized by the city of cards. Take care, and see you in the Xbox Game Pass next year.
Hell yeah!
Isso é foda, Day One no Game Pass, cara.
Gamescom, don't forget
tanto esse quanto
play the demo. Enjoy it, and please share your experiences with us. Thank you for having us today.
Caramba, fugiu o nome do jogo agora.
Enjoy Gamescom with Rise of P.
Guys, thanks again so much for joining me. But now, dancing robots, creepy crash test dummies,
Nossa,
and
Game Pass tá
theme park
foda.
rides you really don't want to visit are just some of the trippy treats crammed into this wonderfully weird next trailer. Set in an alternate 1955, where robotic technology has grown nail-bitingly powerful, it's up to one rogue agent to take a stand for humanity. And if he doesn't, well, let's just say that's not good for anybody. This is a brand new look at Atomic Heart.
Fala, Hernani, bom dia, cara. E aí? BioShock novo, é? Caraca. Graficoso, hein? Cara, muito graficoso, hein? Faz de animação muito foda, cara. Olha que animação muito foda, cara. Olha isso. A qualidade do vídeo de streaming não tá fazendo jus ao... Que jogo é esse, velho? Não sei, Light Dark. Não sei, cara. Tô por fora. Cara, que jogo animal, velho. Caraca! Capitão Pátria. Homelander. Atomic Heart. Não é, novo BioShock, cara. Caraca, que jogo é esse, velho? Ô, meteram um Homelander robótico ali no final, velho. Ai, ai. Nossa. Da hora. Curti, cara. Curti. Esse parece que vai ser foda. Porra. É, eu não vi. Ó, tudo no Game Pass, cara. Ô, o que a Sony vai fazer pra bater de frente com isso aí? God of War, a gente tá todo mundo aqui ansioso pra jogar, mas tenho certeza que vai ser um jogo animal. Pô, mas só God of War. E não vai estar na Plus, né? God of War você tem que comprar separado. O que a Sony vai fazer pra combater isso aí, velho? Tudo no Game Pass, cara. Mano, que brutal. Ai, lá vem. Bichinhos, like. What the hell is that? Jogos para você jogar com seu filho, né? Num co-op maneiro. Game Pass também, cara.
Hey, welcome back everyone. I'm here with Stephen Takowski from 505 Games.
É, então, co-opzinho e tal. Deixa eu tirar o mago do joelho e aproveitar que entrou no Embromation, já volto.
And PC release on Game Pass on October 27th. Stephen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Listen, no problem at all. We appreciate it, and welcome to Gamescom.
Thank you. I mean, I'm having a great time.
Good to be back, right?
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, so Gunfire Reborn's been around for a little while now, right?
Yeah.
But it's coming to Xbox, console, and cloud for the very first time, which is great news. So give us an introduction to the game.
Sure. So Gunfire Reborn is a level-based adventure game with FPS, roguelike, and RPG elements. And you pretty much play with several characters who will have various abilities, and you will go on adventures through 4 different environments, and in those environments there's unique levels, enemies, and bosses.
Great, and you can see from the footage there, it's super bright, super colorful, super fast. Now, it's a roguelite as well, right? So
correct.
I'm right in thinking that every time you start a new run, it's going to be a different experience, yeah?
Sure, yeah, it's a true roguelike. Each route is going to be different each time you play, so it'll always be different from one gameplay to the next. You don't know what drops you're getting, so you have to adjust to your environment because you really don't know what you're going to have. And but you know, along the way, you're going to find different weapons. You're going to find weapon inscriptions, which are different rarities of weapons, and you don't know what to expect. But you just got to be prepared and. You'll know there's going to be a boss at the end of each level, which is your typical roguelike experience. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. And we saw from the trailer as well, you can play it solo, and you can play co-op, multiplayer, which is awesome. But let's talk about solo first, right?
Sure.
What is that roguelite, Gunfire Reborn experience if you're just playing on your own?
Well, the solo experience is great. A lot of games, you want to play roguelike with friends. This one plays solo. It's the best way to level up your character, unlock new characters, and upgrade your character. So solo experience is more like an RPG, and there's 4 environments that you have to go through. It can be challenging because you only get 1 revive for the entire experience.
Right. And so in solo play, you're essentially, as you say, you're leveling up, you're unlocking new characters, you're working on your profile basically to then take it into multiplayer, is that right?
That's correct. And multiplayer is super fun with Gunfire Reborn. You can play 4-player co-op, and it's just a great experience. It's such clean combat. It's really exciting to see it on Xbox Game Pass because you play with your friends on Xbox, and it's just really smooth combat, and you really learn to play with your friends. You have to have unique strategies with your friends, and everyone picks a hero based on how you want to go into it, but you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what weapons you're going to have, and so you do have to adjust on the fly, even with a group of friends.
Excellent. I love that. Let's talk about those heroes then. I think we got a sense of them from the trailer, right? We've got a really colorful cast of animal heroes.
Yeah.
Talk us through them and pick out your favorite for us as well.
Sure. So we have a cat, we have a dog, we have a bird, we have a snow leopard,
nice.
We have a rabbit, and we have a turtle. They all have their unique abilities and perks. Some of them are optimal for elemental damage. Some of them are great for delivering melee damage or crits. So you do have to spend some time. I mean, the game has a lot there. So if you want to spend the time and drill down and learn the game, you you will be rewarded. It's an excellent game that you can really spend like hundreds of hours on, and we have a massive community online who really appreciate it. You see guides everywhere on optimal builds. You'll see tier lists for everything, and it's just a really popular game, and you have to decide which hero is best for you.
Nice.
For me, I would say getting started, the Crown Prince is a very well-balanced character. Definitely recommend it. Any weapon he can use, and he does corrosive damage with his bomb, which is really important. And then you have each character has an optimal strategy. You just got to decide which one's best for you.
Nice. Okay. You mentioned community. I want to come back to that because there is this incredible community already built around Gunfire Reborn. So, I want to give them a shout out and come back to them. But speaking of animals, yeah, you've got the animal heroes. I think I also saw an animal being used as a weapon, right? Like a lizard as a weapon.
Yeah, that's called Justice, and very
lizard.
Creative weapons. There's a whole arsenal. There's 8 different classes of weapons to choose from. You could be short range. You got your shotgun, long range, sniper. You have to decide, what do you want to do? Pistol? Do you want to use melee? And based on your strategy, based on your class, your hero, you can decide. But it's roguelike, so each game, you don't know what you're getting, but you have choices. There's generally 3 choices unless, a boss drops, an item for you. Then you have to pick up that weapon, or you can choose not to pick up that weapon. And you can also refund the weapons as well. So, you have a lot of options for your gameplay, and you look at the stats on each of these weapons, and you have to do your research, and you'll be rewarded for a game like this.
I love it. All right, so we've talked a bit about the heroes, a bit about the weapons. I need to know about these villains as well. Who are we up against in Gunfire Reborn?
Sure. So enemies in Gunfire, there's 3 classes. You have your standard enemies. You defeat them, you get soul essence, you get copper. You have your elite enemies that you find in like vaults, which are these like hidden cracks throughout the levels that you can get some pretty sweet rewards from, whether it's like a weapon or a goblet or a scroll. And then you have the bosses at the end of the levels. And usually you'll get like a legendary scroll, 2 weapons, goblet, soul essence, and copper. And, those bosses definitely can be challenging at first. But once you play the game and get used to it, you realize they all have a strategy to defeat.
Bichinho ainda?
Some people we've seen, they jump into it, they can be a little bit challenging. But, after you really do a little bit of research, they become much easier.
Quero que a Microsoft
and it's just all fun.
Yeah.
Bote furando na Sony assim, ela se mexe. E lógico, quem é a gente, também acho. Que ela vem agressiva mesmo, com bastante coisa no Game Pass, pra Sony se coçar e não ficar pra trás, né? Procedural, maravilhoso, Emerson, maravilhoso.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing with your friends in co-op as well, and you can bring all that fire to bear. Great.
Maravilhoso.
The community, you mentioned them earlier. Huge community already.
Quanto tá rolando aí o
Gunfire Reborn. Community keeps coming back for more. How are you working with that community and that fan base to develop the game? And what can we expect in the future for Gunfire Reborn?
Sure, so we're always listening to the community. People write guides and make videos, and the game is constantly getting balanced in order to deliver an amazing experience.
Watch a Chara Conversation. Vamos adiantar aqui esse jogo que o Emerson ama.
We pay
Jogo
attention
que o Emerson
we do have
adora.
content
Emerson.
that's coming. We'll be announcing
Fala aí.
soon. But we take in community feedback in order to create an optimal experience because we want them to keep playing.
Love it, love it. So I guess the Gunfire Reborn community is going to be a great place for Xbox players to start when they start playing. But given that this whole new Xbox community is coming to the game both on console and cloud and PC through Game Pass, what do you how would you sort of say to them, why should they jump into Gunfire Reborn?
Sure, so it definitely has amazing replayability. It's very accessible. If you're a roguelike fan or you're brand new to roguelites, it's great experience. Very, very clean combat. It doesn't take too long to pick up. It takes a while to master, but you can just jump into it, have a great experience. If you have 3 friends standing by ready to play, it's the perfect co-op game to have a great time, and you'll spend endless hours with your friend, and you get to have animal creatures that you're taking control of, and it's just a cool experience. So yeah.
Great. Stephen, thank you so much. I'm so excited to play, and it feels like one of those games you can get together with your friends of all ages and just have a total blast.
Vai, Ribeirão Preto.
Stephen, it's been a pleasure. Really appreciate it. Okay, so there's nothing quite like Gamescom.
Pô, eu perguntei.
You've all missed this incredibly special event just as much as I have. So here's a glimpse of what this brilliant show means to the Xbox family all over the world.
What I love about Gamescom is the fact that this is bigger than an event. This is an opportunity for all of us from the whole world to meet each other, to play together, to have fun. This is a chance to meet the people who shares with you.
Tá pouquinho atrasado aqui, cara.
Also, you can buy stuff that will remind you one day.
Eu acho.
This year I've been on Gamescom. So looking forward to be there again, and I'm so excited to have a chance to meet you all. See you!
For me, Gamescom is not only the expo, but most of all, it's huge gaming celebrations. Opportunity to meet the people, meet the gamers, meet the fans from around the world is really special. And I think that everyone who has opportunity should go to the Cologne at least once.
For Gamescom, I'm most looking forward to meeting some new
Vai cortar
pouco
isso aí, galera.
With some old Xbox family that I
Posso
haven't
trocar?
seen in so long in person.
Devo.
So I can't wait to see and hang out with everybody, all in the name of games. It's going to be fun.
One memory of Gamescom that I will never forget is the 2018 FanFest boat party that they threw. It was a really cool place to meet other Xbox fans, but also it was the first time I ever met Graham, and I'll never forget it because he and I clearly have great fashion taste, because we were wearing the exact
Não sei, aqui talvez ele esteja um pouco... Agora eu vou pegar essa tela aqui. Eu vou tirar ela daqui. Vou ter que colocar ela um pouco para cá por causa da legenda. Não sei se a legenda vai encaixar ali, mas... Vou deixar aí enquanto tiver blá blá blation. Fala aí, Marcos. Bom dia, cara. Parece que perdeu o som do negócio. Ah, não. Cliquei sem querer.
I am joined by Mikey and Maddie from Squanch Games, who are here to give us an exclusive look at High on Life. Thank you so much both for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Great to be here.
And I'm sure the fans are going to be super excited about this segment because you have a ton of gameplay to show us, and I want to see it definitely. But before we jump into that, could you give us like a quick overview of what High on Life means?
Yeah, so High on Life is the new game from Justin Roiland's studio, Squanch Games. It takes place, starts out on Earth. You're kind of an aimless teenager. You don't really know where you're going with your life. Aliens show up. They discover that humans are the best drugs in the universe, and you pair up with a talking gun that you find to sort of stop them from ending your species, basically.
Content from the intro tutorial level to start. You know, some fast forward sort of through here, but it's just because we can only fit so much in this segment.
So is that like the typical game from Squanch Games you would have?
Yeah, so we kind of have weird games. Like, we kind of found each other. We like making weird stuff. We all love comedy. We all love weird sci-fi. So it really is right in our wheelhouse. It's just a leveled up version of things we've done in the past.
Amazing. So I would say let's just jump right into the gameplay, right? Because it's what people want to see.
Sounds great.
Nice house.
Diga-se de passagem.
Real ritzy. Way better than my bench.
Oh, wow, you really made yourself at home, huh?
Oh, there you are. Who's this weirdo, and why is he setting up a huge alien computer in our living room?
Okay, first of all, that alien computer is a very expensive and surprisingly operational Bounty 5000. So, you're welcome.
A what 5000?
I've got just the thing. A small-time local gangster by the name of Nine Torg. She took my favorite knife. She's got an operation out in the slums. Maybe you kill her and get my knife back. Then we'll talk. Maybe take you out to Glumpy's to celebrate.
All right, so we just head out to the slums?
No, moron. You gotta use the Bounty 5000 to initiate a bounty. That's what I went through all the trouble of setting it up for.
My knife! We're looking for the gateway to the slums, I guess. Look, it shouldn't be too far. Listen, just follow the waypoint.
So I just noticed it's a little forward. Like, is that the
Sério?
usual demo? Is that a cut through?
Yeah, are you talking about fast forward?
Yeah,
matemática não
so
chama minha atenção
we're
não,
actually
cara.
showing the
Sei
full
lá.
demo here to pass behind closed doors, but for the purposes of this video, we're just sort of fast forwarding to make time.
Sei lá,
And
velho.
the family was at my house. Where do I live in there? Is that my family?
Yeah. So early on in the game, Kenny gives you the ability to teleport your entire house to escape from the cartel. So when you teleport your house, your sister's in the house. So you kind of bring her with you. And she's not too happy about that at first. And the other guy you see in there, that's Gene. He's a legendary bounty hunter, at least he was legendary bounty hunter, kind of fell on hard times, and he's homeless, and he sees this opportunity as a way to sort of get your house. So he's like, I'll train you if you let me crash on your couch. If you die, I get to keep the house, basically. And so he's really, in the beginning, he's really hoping you die.
Understood.
Yeah, the house is sort of your main hub, and then you have the rest of Bloom City for side content, NPCs, lots of good stuff.
Well, look what we got here. Fresh meat. Hey there, fresh meat. Welcome to the slums, fresh meat.
Oh boy, here we go. Kid.
What's wrong, fresh meat? You scared of a little kid? Yeah, I'm a little kid. Look at me. Look at me.
I'm sorry. This is annoying. What's this all about?
Well, honestly, he's just supposed to be annoying, basically. So we implemented this patented squanch shove tech, basically, where characters get in your face and push you around. It's such a funny little mechanic, and he's one of the first characters you encounter that's doing this to you, and he's really pressuring you to shoot him, but you don't have to. You can skip it,
Yeah, you meet his mom later, and he's actually 30. So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so not really technically.
You're not killing kids, and it's your choice.
Okay.
Muita temática que chama minha atenção, não. Sei lá.
Hey, you can't pass through here. It's Nine Torg's turn. Jesus, enough with everyone getting in our way. We just want to kill Nine Torg. Yeah, right. You kill Nine Torg? Get lost, heel.
So this is exciting. We're in our first combat. Who are we fighting? And is this Kenny's primary ability?
Yeah, so this is the first time you're really getting to use Kenny. And these aren't the main enemies you're fighting. These are sort of a lower level set of goons. And they actually think they're the strongest enemies in the game, but they find out by the end of this mission that they're really not, and they're just the ones on the first level. It's really funny. It's a really funny sequence. And for Kenny, you're seeing basically his primary fire right now. This is early in the game, so you're learning how to use them. But throughout the game, he'll get alternate abilities. Each gun kind of has 3 modes. One of them is always going to affect traversal. And then on top of that,
Cara,
there's
pior que
mods for
parece
each
que é
gun.
bem foda mesmo, hein? Tô vendo aqui. Ele é cartunesco, mas de repente pode ter uma história bacana, exploração legal.
Come on, give it a shot. It'll be fun. Yeah, I told you. Did you see how fun that was?
Mas esse jogo ficaria mais divertido dublado.
Okay. I'm afraid to ask this question. What is a trick hole?
Is that just an American thing?
I'm sorry.
I thought that was worldwide, the trick hole, but apparently not. So all the guns in the game have 3 separate abilities, so primary, secondary, as we mentioned, and then there's an ability fire. What you're seeing here, it can be used in combat, but it can also be used to open up new traversal areas. And each gun in the game will sort of open up new areas. You can go back to areas that you were before and kind of explore, find content, collectibles, and also get new NPC interactions.
Yeah, we're really trying to push that light Metroidvania feel, so the levels are really dense.
You! I'm sick of this! I want to tear through someone's guts! Oh, I think they're talking about Gene's knife. You!
Got it, freak. We've had enough of your bullshit.
Yeah, it's your fault Stemulax is dead. I was in love with him. Did you know that? I loved him. And now his head's cut off.
Just the way it should be. Him. Hey, guess what? I have another secret trick you can use. The power of negotiation. Let's try reasoning with these guys. Knock on the door. Tell me how you want to play this.
You insufferable. When I'm loose. Who's there? Who are you?
Hey! Hello there, friends.
Oh, I think it's the buyer.
Hey, are you the buyer?
No, I'm just here to do my laundry. It's even clean. I'm a laundry head. Can't stop washing stuff over here.
This room's off limits. Everything you need is in the front. Get out of here.
Good luck with your laundry.
I mean, I have a ton of laundry at home, especially after Gamescom, but I've noticed there's a lot of dialogue in this. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we actually started out kind of writing out a big dialogue tree. Our head writer, Alec Robb, is an amazing writer and kind of makes twine games in his spare time, so we had it down. And then once people got in the booth, we kind of encouraged a little bit of improv to keep things fresh and funny. And then all of that amounts to basically a huge selection of dialogue choices. And so you just heard him talking about his ex-lover, Stevulax. If you knock on the door before that, you don't even have a chance to give that answer because you don't know that information. So there's a lot of stuff like that throughout the game that you're kind of opting into without even knowing.
Job.
They told us this buyer was a real prankster.
Oh, you, come on. That was pretty up. That joke is gonna me up.
You got him good. Okay, though, but enough of that. Let's show them the product.
All right, here's the product. A genuine talking knife. I gotta be honest with you. He's a real piece of
He's extremely violent. He basically only talks about wanting to kill people in very disturbing ways.
You, I'm gonna carve out your ass cavity. Gonna make it 3 times as big. Your it's just gonna drop right out of there.
See what I'm talking about?
Oh, perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Esse jogo tinha que ser dublado, cara. Ele vai ter um senso de humor bem zoado, mano.
Yeah, free me. Let's go psycho on these.
Não é muito a tipo de jogo arte, chama atenção, mas de repente pode ser engraçado, pô, divertido.
Fuck yes, thank you. Pleased to meet you. I'm Knifey. Now use me. Let me up these fucking ends.
Oh, just a reminder, don't do anything crazy when you're holding the knife. Just like look at it, see if you like it, put it back. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, fuck yes, fire. Yes, more. I need more stabbing.
Definitely 9torg, but let's put a pin in the whole gene thing. How do we get out of here?
With my tether ability. I'm more than just a knife, you racist. I can tether too. Look up and latch on.
I can't believe it. I'm sorry, but these lines, guys. But I remember Knifey from the first trailer, and I think for fans, he has been fan favorite from the debut. Tell me everything about him.
Mata mais, eu preciso dar mais facada, cara. Me usa aí.
Who's awesome. He's so funny. And throughout the game, basically, he functions as a knife, but he's there to kind of always pick on you and say funny stuff. He also has this tether ability, which affects traversal through the levels. So once you get him, you can kind of go back, and some of the levels were horizontal, now they're more vertical, and there's things you can get that you couldn't get before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The levels really open up once you get Knifey, and then there's a bunch of other traversal abilities you can use in tandem with him. And you also can't open chests until you get Knifey, which you'll see right here. These are our lug loxes.
Nossa, mais ruim, cara. Tudo no Game Pass, cara.
Always going to have that side hustle. So you're actually also getting pretty close to the end of the level here. You're going to fight the boss 9torg.
Yeah, lembra pouquinho lá de baixo.
You're going to be able to use all of your abilities that you've learned in the level together. So your primary, your secondary, you're going to be tethering around the arena, and you're also going to be deflecting with Knifey. So you put it all together, and you fight 9torg.
Come on, admit it. We're hurting you. No. Fuck you. That was cool.
Better not bump.
Hey, I'm still here. You can still use me if you want. I can deflect attacks. Did you know that? I'm not just all about stabbing. Well, I'm mostly all about stabbing and tethering, but I can also deflect attacks. I'll slice them the gap. I'll cut their heads off. I'll rip their limbs off. Do everything. I'm gonna cut right into them. I'll cut their asshole off.
Caraca,
You know, this slug
sapecou
matches your
o maluco.
toxic personality.
Nossa, tem palavrão pra caraca. Isso aí dublado ia ficar... Nossa. Cara, esse é o tipo do jogo que tem que ser dublado, cara. tem que ser dublado. Ele aumenta 20 vezes mais a imersão e a diversão se ele for dublado.
See more. Is that it? Is that it? Are you sharing
that's
anything?
The whole game. That's
Are you sharing anything else at Gamescom?
Que legendinha, hein?
So actually, we're showing this full playthrough of what is essentially the first bounty you get. So we're showing that behind closed doors to press. There should be full videos online of the whole playthrough for people to check out, and we're just so excited to finally get it in people's hands and see their reactions. And it's been a real labor of love for us and the team.
Amazing. Well, I can say this is a gloopy globby blast, right? But when can people get their hands on the game?
So December 13th, it's going to come out. We're really excited for everybody to check it out. We're working really hard on it.
Yeah, seriously, please check it out. Like, this is really, really a special game to us, and we really hope you guys like it.
Well, Mike and Maddie, I have to say, first of all, thank you so much for us letting us bleeping your game. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for having us at the show, and enjoy the rest of Gamescom.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
And now we are going to take a look at a game set in the Warhammer 40k universe. So just a little change of pace here. I don't know about you, but nothing signals the end of summer like a good co-op shooter. And just as the darkness starts creeping in, we have the perfect slice of shooty socializing for you. Set in the city of Tertium, play as one of 4 types of recently released prisoners as a last resort to protect the city. It's time for the rejects to rise. This is Dark Tide.
Dark Tide is a first-person co-op game set in the grim dark future of Warhammer 40,000. Welcome to Tertium, a sprawling hive city on the brink of destruction. You are a reject, a convict freed to serve the Inquisition in this dark.
Fala, Hector, bom dia, cara.
It is your duty to fight, and if
Pô, tem campanha isso aí?
for the Emperor. You can expect no help.
Ou será que é só co-op PVP, cara? Ai, não. Fala que tem campanha, por favor. Tranquilo, Hector. Ah, é tipo um Left 4 Dead? Se for... Como vendeu Bezerra?
Rejects will rise.
Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. É, ok. Ok. E aí, Hector, começando cedo o dia, cara? Fazer uma graninha? Não deu avaria, dei sorte. Pô, legal, cara. Tá conseguindo pelo menos o básico? Pra colocar as contas em dia, velho? Tá conseguindo pelo menos isso, Hector? Pô, a situação tá tensa demais, né, cara? Pô, que bom, cara. Que bom, Hector. Caraca. Legal. Legal, cara. Bastante esforço e dedicação. Fico feliz de estar conseguindo pelo menos colocar as contas em dia, mano. Poxa. É, então. Ah, mano. Olha o tanto de dia que tirou uma reladinha, cara. Pô, isso é foda, viu? Isso é foda, cara. Meu, você não pode levar uma relada no bagulho e já vai o life inteiro, cara. Porra. Acabou o tempo ali. Pega, usa, pega de novo. Pô, legal, pelo menos tá conseguindo fazer uma grana e sacar o dinheiro, né? É só fazer lá virtual, ah, tem tanto lá no jogo, mas não saca, não usa pra nada, aí não adianta. Pelo menos agora você tá conseguindo.
Ima. Hola, Imui. Toma aqui, Imui. Hello.
Pô, legal. Vintão por dia já é uma grana legal. Legal, cara. Olha que maneiro. $12 conto. Olha que beleza, cara. Fala aí, Gênesis. Não, cara, teve muita coisa legal até agora, velho. Mostrou alguns jogos legais. Tudo vai estar no Game Pass, cara. Aí, ó. Tudo no Game Pass, mano.
Wasn't it a nice little moment of tranquility there in amidst all the fun of Gamescom? How's it going, folks? Welcome back.
2 horas por dia,
I'm excited to welcome
entendi.
Aaron Harnius, the creative director and lead game designer at Wishfully, to talk about the absolutely gorgeous
Muita encheção de
Lana.
linguiça.
Adam, thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to talk about how beautiful this game looks. But first of all,
teve algumas coisas legais, sim.
To Planet of Lana. We just saw the trailer.
Enquanto isso, eu vou jogando aqui.
Yeah, so Planet of Lana is a side-scrolling sci-fi puzzle adventure, right? And you play this young girl called Lana. And at your side, you have this little cute creature companion.
Vai participar de uma escolinha,
and together, you go out on this epic adventure, you know, through the world of this planet that's set far away in a galaxy. And you're going on a rescue mission to try and save Lana's big sister that's been taken away by an invading robot army. Yeah,
love that.
That's the gist of it.
So super exciting for everyone attending Gamescom here this year, and for you as well, personally, I'm sure, is that you can actually play Planet of Lana.
Artisticamente é bonito, hein?
Yeah, so excited about that. You can play Planet of Lana here in the Xbox booth as
Me
well as in the
Limbo.
Thunderful booth here in
Colorido.
Holland. So very excited about
Mas
that.
tá me
This is
lembrando
actually
Limbo.
the first time we're showing the game to media. So very excited about that.
So what's in the demo? Like what can we expect from it?
Yeah, so the demo is quite an early part of the game, right? So it's
cara, mostrou uns jogos bem maneiros. Sabe o que é o melhor? Todos os jogos que estão sendo mostrados, praticamente todos até agora, tudo Game Pass, cara.
So it's like an introduction, and you
Os
can think of Movie kind of like
tudo Game Pass,
a dog. So you can tell her to go places and tell her to stop and follow you. She's really a valuable.
É $500 por mês, é uma grana legal, cara. Aí você faz investimento de 12 conto uma vez, só isso e mais nada?
I mean, we've gotten incredible feedback like yesterday and today, and it's just a big queue over at the Thunderful booth. So it's just been absolutely unreal. You know, 5 years in the making now, this game, and yesterday was the first day that we showed it to players and media for the first time.
Ah,
so,
vai.
Yeah,
Isso aí vai dar um aperto da Sony, é um aperto legal, assim. Tudo bem que esse ano vai ter o God of War, Ragnarok, aí, tá todo mundo esperançoso pra jogar. Eu mesmo fazendo uma vaquinha aqui pra trazer D1 no canal. Mas, cara, o jogo nem tá na Plus, tem que comprar separado, 350 pau, e um jogo não vai experimentar uma cacetada de coisa foda. Ó, o jogo do Pinóquio vai estar no Game Pass,
this creature companion
cara.
that you meet and that you befriend.
Qual é o nome do jogo, cara? Acabou de passar agora há pouco. Não sei o que, Regain.
And reach places that you cannot. But she can also like bite off cables and do things like that, push down things for you to reach. And then she also has this hypnotic ability that you might have seen in our like in the gameplay trailer intro we had just there. So you gain that a little bit later in the game, and then Mui actually can hypnotize like these weird creatures that you come across that has the same like glowing white eyes that she has.
Que é o segundo jogo da franquia, cara.
You know, the possibilities of how to interact with the creatures.
Deu branco, agora fugiu o nome da
Yeah,
I played the demo myself, and one thing that really struck me was the way that Mui's abilities kind of discover them slowly, and they kind of build on each other, and the puzzles become more complex. That must have been a really fun thing to work out as you designed the game, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a super important thing as well, you know. We've been focusing a lot on like having a good ramp up of the game, you know. We want this game to like, reach a really broad audience, but it's also important, you know, in this kind of games where you have logical puzzles, because everyone is at different levels.
Esse Warhammer também, não sei, acho que vai estar no Game Pass, não cheguei a ver aqui, mas daí acho que é tipo...
You know, it can't be
pelo
too
que eu vi ali, é
easy,
tipo...
get really boring. It can't be too... It can't be frustrating either. You just have to, you know, balance that challenge of just right, I think. So, yeah, and that is a challenge in itself, but I think we've done a really good job.
Did you ever consider like a co-op mode?
Esse aí parece legal, cara, gostei.
You know, play as Lana and Mui.
Mostrou alguns outros jogos também, com uma cara mais caricatura, uma coisa mais caricaturada, aliás, uma coisa mais cartunesca.
Decision from the like core idea from the get-go that we shouldn't have that, because I mean we're going for this relationship with Lana and Mui that you kind of have in real life with a dog, like the relationship with a human and a dog. So, and if we would like have another control and put that in the hands of a friend to control Mui, you will lose that kind of magic, you know, that we feel, because Mui is very much her own creature with her own personality.
Ajuda pra caramba.
Yeah, and I think that really comes through in the relationship you see and hear between Lana and Mui.
Se não me engano, tem um botão agora que você deixa o sub automático no canal. Se puder deixar, eu agradeço. Isso me ajuda demais. Muito mais,
so we're telling the story
mas
without
muito
words,
mesmo.
right? And
Quem
that's
tem um
something
sub
we
aí
want
do
to do
Prime
from the
puder
beginning.
ajudar com um sub
But then my
gratuito, dá uma
co-director
forcinha.
and also the scriptwriter for the game, Klaus
Agora tem um botão
Eriksson,
para deixar
he invented this language for the inhabitants of this planet of Novo. And it just adds so much. It adds that extra layer of like a way for the characters to be able to express emotions, you know. And also since Lana and Mui is constantly communicating with each other, so it's just it's details that I think really makes, you know, world building so fun, and that's something that we really focused on in this game.
I love it. For sure. Yeah, I mean it's a new language, but you totally get what's happening, like the way they talk to each other, communicate, the little chirps.
Exactly, it's a mix of the body language and the language and everything, yeah.
All right, so we talked about Lana and our faithful companion Mui, but tell us about the overall story here, because one of the things I've noticed, you know, in the trailers you've got these really beautiful contemplative moments, but then some moments with real like drama and speed and, you know, these big robots as well. So what's the overall kind of story you're telling?
Yeah, so what you can expect playing our game is really an epic story that would unfold over like 5-6 hours when playing the game, and we're really going for, that's what I think sets us apart a little bit in the genre. Like we're bringing these companion-based mechanics, but also we're really focusing on telling quite a classical saga, this story of this unlikely hero, this 11-year-old girl, and Mui going through this incredible journey through the planet on this rescue mission to try and save her sister. And you come across so many environments. We have like this old shipwrecks that's been buried in this swamp for several hundred years that you get to explore, and you get like pieces of information that like the players that have more attention to detail will get more out of the rich like backstory that we've created for this world and the lore of the world. So that's really exciting. And then also all players will get an answer to why humans are living on this planet and why the robots have come and why they've invaded the planet and so forth. So yeah, it's really a classic like epic adventure that you get to experience with a lot of twists and turns as well that I won't spoil right now.
Love that. Now we've got to talk about the art style. It just looks so special. Tell me about your inspirations and how that art style has evolved over the 5 years you've been working on the game.
I mean, there's just so much inspirations. I mean, I grew up with games like Another World and Flashback and Oddworld as well. And there's definitely a bit of Another World in the game, as you can see. And then just, you know, Studio Ghibli films, especially Miyazaki's film like Spirited Away and Ponyo on those, and like modern games like Inside. But really, it's just like going for, like, at the start, the game actually started like with these concept images of the game that was like beautifully hand-painted. And then going from that concept art into the game that we have today was a long process and a lot of iterations to, you know, because we wanted to create that, you know, depth and immersion that we have in the world now, but still keeping this hand-painted style. So it's like this 2.5D mix of, you know, 3D and layering of 2D layers, and then we also have put a lot of emphasis on bringing this art style to life as well. So we have this wind system, for example, that our talented programmers have created, where we can go from calm to full storm. It's just, you know, it's really, we have such a talented team, and it's so fun going to work every day and get to work with these talented people, and everyone is just pouring in a lot of love into this project and making
Nanda Word, escreveu isso?
That you can see in the trailers and in the demo that you can play.
Right. Well, it really shows, and part of that atmosphere is the music. You know, and you've
Jogos
got someone
com
very special working on the music.
Temática pin-up, retrô, essa cara meio Bioshock,
yeah, so we have
tá falando,
Takeshi
gente?
Furukawa that's writing the music for the game. And he's
foda,
known for
cara,
creating the
tipo de
music for The Last
caracterização.
Guardian, among other things. And he's just like a prolific composer, and it's just been unreal to have him on the project. I mean, it was very unreal from the beginning, but we just get along so good creatively. And I mean, it's also, from the get-go, we've decided, you know, that we also want like the sound of this planet to speak its own language, you know, and then have music come in to emphasize you know, special scenes to like emphasize emotions, and music also plays like a pivotal part actually, both in the gameplay and in the story. So it's just been so great having him on board, and he's just doing an amazing job, I think.
Wicked. Now you've also announced that Planet Alana is coming to Game Pass, which is amazing news for all of us Game Pass subscribers. What does that mean for you as an indie developer, especially with this being your first title as an indie?
Yeah, I mean, I can't emphasize how much that means to us, honestly. I mean, having the game on Game Pass day one, it will just I mean, we're making this game, we want as much players as possible to experience the game. And having it on Game Pass just lowers that barrier of entry of people to experience it. So it's just amazing. And also, I just have to say that Xbox has actually played a pivotal role in in the success that
negócio de Game
Lana has
Pass é
gotten
foda,
up
né,
until
cara? A
this point.
Microsoft
I
tá
mean, we get
muito
so much
arrombante
support
com
from
esse Game
Xbox,
Pass, velho.
and it's just been really, really amazing. So very happy to have that collaboration with you guys.
That's amazing to hear. Listen, we're happy that you're here. This is absolutely incredible. It's great to talk about it. Going to hit Game Pass day one in spring 2023, right?
Yes.
Why do we have to wait so long, Adam? I want to play now.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a week ago we announced that we're delaying the game. We were planning originally to have it released in this year, 2022. But, I mean, it's both, I think it's, I mean, this game that we're making, it just needs to be at a very high level of polish to really create the vision and experience that we want to create. So it's just the right decision, you know. I think the players will be happy in the end that we made the decision not release the game prematurely. Yeah, I think that's always a good decision.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. Something special deserves all the time it takes. So that's great. Right, before you go, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience? Any highlights from Gamescom? Or?
I mean, it's just unreal being here, really, just experiencing all the love and support that we have gotten from the game over the years and here at Gamescom. And yeah, just thanks for everyone's support. Yeah, and very happy to be here.
Adam, absolute pleasure. Okay, everyone, that's the gorgeous Planet of Lana coming to Xbox Game Pass in spring of 2023, day one. Thank you, Adam, for joining us today and bringing such a beautiful game. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
All right, coming up, my co-host and pal, Charlie, will be speaking with Shyla Schofield from Obsidian Entertainment about the much-anticipated release of Grounded 1.0. But before that, we've got even more Grounded 1.0 content to share. We're going to hear from Phil Spencer himself and the creative director of Grounded, Adam Brennecke, about what we can expect from the upcoming release of everyone's favorite backyard adventure.
So what I like most about Gamescom is that I come together with different people from around the world that I usually don't really see very often because we don't live in the same city or country. And Gamescom is the perfect opportunity for me to finally meet them and to enjoy video games to its fullest.
What I like the most about Gamescom, without a doubt, is the close community atmosphere. The best thing is to be able to see each other again and enjoy in person, side by side, what we are passionate about, gaming and video games. And of course, it's amazing to be part of it and enjoy of everything that Xbox has prepared for this event. Thank you and enjoy the Gamescom.
Hi everyone. I have been at Gamescom twice, one as a journalist about 10 years ago and one with the Xbox team in 2019, and it has always been very special for me. I had so much fun there, and I think it's really great to have in Europe a big gaming moment like Gamescom, where gamers can meet and enjoy video games together, as well as discover new titles or even make new friends. This year I will not be able to attend, but I cannot wait to see what's announced at Gamescom and hope everybody enjoy it.
My favorite thing to do at Gamescom is to be just outside of the booth right when the gates open on Saturday morning, and you have this crush of people. You really start to feel how big Gamescom is, because it is like the running of the bulls, but like with more gamers and less injuries. But it just shows the dedication and the commitment of gamers in Germany and throughout Europe, and I'm definitely missing that this year.
I miss Gamescom. I'm not there this year. I miss walking around the show floor. The show floor is just massive, and there's thousands of people, and just seeing what's new in the games industry. Certainly, I work in it, but seeing it with other fans is a ton of fun. I miss that. I miss Xbox Fan Fest, and of course,
posso ver Zex da Kaiser. Pronto, mais 200 minutos de espera. Bromation. Ah, legal. Não quer dizer que não tem como voltar daqui. Super supimpão. Maravilhoso. É foda. Tem jogo que envelhece muito bem. Tem jogo que envelhece magnanimamente bem. Mas tem jogo que não... Não, cara. Não dá. Você vai jogar o jogo e você fala, meu amigo, na época não parecia ser assim. sei se eu quero o achachara nesse desafio. Prefiro evitar. Quero evitar a fadiga. O que eu precisava achar aqui era o ponto de save, velho. O jogo não está permitindo eu achar o bendito do save. Boa. Tá falando que tem um like aqui embaixo, mas esse like ali está promovido. Ele tem, né, a possibility de provável weapon, uma upgrade legal, mas eu não vou mexer não. Legal. Vamos fazer um vida que segue aqui. O jogo de 64 envelhece muito mal. Por causa da parte de textura, parte gráfica, as coisas eu acho. Max, quase que eu chorei na live ontem, quando cheguei a bater 3K. Ah, legal, cara. Donkey Kong 64, olha pra ele, nem dá vontade de jogar. Cara, o Donkey Kong é engraçado, né? Você vai ver o 64 não dá muita vontade. Mas se você colocar o do Super Nintendo, fica da hora, né? Você joga numa boa, assim.
Hey everyone, Phil Spencer here. Really excited. We're going to get to talk about Grounded. Great game, a game I love playing. We have Adam Brennicke here from the team. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm the game director, and thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to, be here finally. We're at the end of the runway for Grounded, and it's a super exciting time.
Yeah, I mean, Grounded is a game we've been playing, for like a couple years now. Started in game preview, in Game Pass. I think it's been amazing to see over 10 million people have played the game to date. I've played a ton. I love it. Can't wait for the 27th of September when we get 1.0, GA, story mode, all of the great things that are coming. To me, when I think about all of the games that we're building, one of the things I really love about Grounded is you find a passionate team, which you lead, a passionate team that has a real creative idea, maybe something that isn't exactly expected from the studio, but you had a vision about something you were going to go build, and that we could work together, foster, grow that to the point we're at now, where it's getting ready to release. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's wild to be in this position to be able to make something so creative. If this is the first time you're hearing about Grounded or seeing Grounded, Grounded is a survival game, and you have to survive in this backyard environment. The main goal is to get home. We're at the end of our journey of building the game and with the community, and this is the final update for the full, complete yard.
It's the biggest update yet, right?
Yeah. We have a bunch of cool surprises, a lot of cool new environments that are going to be really fun to explore.
Yeah.
The team's pouring their hearts into it right now, and I think it's just been so fun to work alongside the community too, that we built with the early access and game preview programs. So many players have given us great feedback along the way, and it's really shaped how we developed Grounded. Right now, we're actually checking out one of the early adventure areas in the game. It's the hedge. You're shrunk down to the size of an ant.
Yeah.
And
actually, I think the ants are bigger than you are.
They're a little bit bigger, right? Yeah. The players right now are going through this hedge maze, and it's nestled on the side of the house. You're trying to figure out how you got here and how you're going to get home. Part of the adventure is exploring all these cool areas and environments of the yard. One thing that we're really proud of for our final 1.0 release is our story.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that really separates us from most survival games. And we spent a lot of time world building, adding a lot of characters and storylines to the world.
Yeah, I think there's, for me, I played in game preview, Game Pass. It was a great co-op game because we get together as our friends. One of the fantastic ways to go play, build our base. I happened to go visit right around the Xbox Bethesda showcase. It was fun to come out to the studio, you and I getting together. Got me re-energized, so I went back into the game, but so much had changed. And now I'm so waiting for that story mode, the setting, because the story, it's a great setting for a story, kind of have a guided beginning of the game, and then the sandbox will obviously just open up for players. And how will you deal with, I assume you'll have some players who will be like me, returning of the 10 million people who have played when it comes out. And then you have other players who are brand new, where the idea of, okay, now it's at 1.0, now is when I'm going to go dive in. Like, you as a team, how do you think about those kind of different players coming, and how do you design for that?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that, you know, we want to invite all the players that have tried Grounded, you know, even 2 years ago. We want them to come back and try it again and experience the full story, experience the full yard, because there's so much content in this yard. It's a big open world. There's so many cool environments, cool creatures to find. But I also, like, for the brand new player, you know, it's a survival game first and foremost, but it's definitely a different twist on a survival game. There's one thing that we're really proud of is the accessibility and approachability. So even just right now, we're looking at the Broodmother fight. So this is one of our boss fights in the game, where you fight this giant spider in her spider den.
Quase meio-dia já,
credo. Funny, because this is,
horror.
We have a arachnophobia mode. And that's one thing that's really important to us, is making the game accessible for all different types of players. We have tons of game options. So even if survival seems, you know, that might be a hardcore genre of game, we're trying to bring in a huge audience with a lot of options to play the game how you want to play. I think that's really important to us.
And we saw that in the community. Like, certain people just focused on the base building and building, I mean, frankly, almost levels or bases that took over the whole size of the lake, which was awesome. I think you're going to get a lot of people who want story. I think the boss battles and the kind of the circle of collecting items, building up your crew so you can go in and take down different parts of the game. Awesome.
People built huge fortresses and spent an enormous amount of time building these crazy, crazy, huge forts. And then that gave us ideas of adding more. So we added mushroom bricks, and we want to add more building materials in the future.
Well, and that loop that you're commenting on now, I don't think that it's not always recognized how important that is. Is like, a team has a vision. That vision meets reality through Game Pass and preview.
O upload parece estar dando uma zoada aqui no OBS, essa merda.
And then they're going to give you feedback.
Se der drop pra vocês aí,
change
avisem,
your
galera.
production schedule, right? Because you're going to listen and watch. What
Eu não chamo minha
even as
atenção,
simple
não.
as, like, sitting in chairs. I know
Não
that
é
was
algo que eu
a
acho que eu
fun one that
jogaria,
we
não.
put in like a year
Sei
ago.
lá.
That was a huge ask. Just like, people just want to lounge around in their base.
Talvez
right?
tenham algumas outras opções, mas com tanta coisa foda pra jogar,
One thing for our,
não sei se eu passaria na frente do que eu tenho ainda pra jogar, não.
A couple more surprise boss fights that we're really excited about.
Any hints or no?
Well, we did show off the Mantis. So that's something that I know a lot of players have been asking for a long time, to fight a praying mantis in Grounded. So we are delivering that experience, and we got a couple more surprises.
That's awesome. Well, congrats to the team on getting to this point. We're not quite there yet. 27th September.
Thank you.
I think for everybody who's played, myself included, I just love the craftsmanship and passion that clearly the team has in putting together such an amazing game. That's a great game to play either by yourself or with your friends. Can't wait to see it come out. And it's great to be here and get to show people more of the game. So thanks for all of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Here to continue the conversation on Grounded, we have Shyla Scovard with us from Obsidian Entertainment to give us all the backyard dirt on the upcoming 1.0 update, which releases on September 27th. Shyla, welcome to the stream. How are you feeling being here at Gamescom?
I am so excited. You know, this is something that I've missed. Being in the show floor, watching players play the game, there's nothing better than being able to get something that's been worked on so long and getting players to watch it. So for me, this is thrilling. I am so
There's
stoked.
a particular energy in the room today as well, is there not? Yeah.
Oh, no, it's great. And I think everybody's just glad to be back and playing games out in public again, so it's fun.
Totally agree. Right, let's move swiftly on to Grounded then, as that's what we're here for. So some folks out there might recognize it as Grounded has been around and available in game preview for like 2 years now, thanks to Game Pass. And Phil mentioned something very exciting in a deep dive then with Adam, and that is that the full story is on the way. So what exactly does this mean? And how is it going to be integrated into a game that players have grown, pun intended, to love so much over the years without one?
Oh yeah, no worries. So there's a few questions that you get when you start the game, and that is, why am I so tiny?
Yes.
Whose backyard is it? And how did I get here?
So, all valid questions.
Right?
Yes.
You wake up and you're tiny, you need to know.
Yeah.
These are important. So with this story that's being integrated into the current gameplay, you are going to be able to uncover these answers, find out how you got there, and ultimately, hopefully, be able to go big and go home.
I love that that's the thing
yes.
you guys say.
It's great.
So perfect.
It's the best one.
So a reminder to fans that this is actually going to be the largest update that the game has had so far, right?
Yes.
It's going to be absolutely huge. So I would love for you to highlight some of both the big and the miniature, because it's grounded, updates that games that players can expect are coming to the game.
Perfect. So we do have some things. I know Adam mentioned the Mantis fight, and there was a picture of it. Yeah. It is huge. It is something that the players have been asking for so long. Yeah. One of the most requested insects. So the fact that we could put that in and players will finally get to experience that fight, that's perfect.
I love that, like, of all the games that you could find in Germany this week, I do believe yours is the only one where people have begged to fight a praying mantis.
You know what? And if that's the case, that's perfect. I love it. So as someone who enjoys the spiders in it, the mantis is the next step up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So along with that, and like we mentioned, the story will be going in. There will be an expansion to the backyard, so there are going to be new areas for players to explore. Obviously, new items to craft and everything else. I wish I could go into specifics, but that's just something that we have a month away, so they could wait.
Absolutely. But there have been so many updates along the way. You mentioned new locations, but it's not the first time you've done this over the last couple of years.
No. So back when we launched in July of 2020, Grounded started, and it was basically an oak tree, and there were some areas that you can go explore, but all your stuff was around this tree. Over the years, we've expanded to a koi pond, where we have a giant koi fish named Trudy II, who, if you look at her, has a scar over one of her eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I don't know why. I asked someone once, and they just said, Trudy's seen some things. So we leave it at that.
I was going to say, what happened to Trudy 1 as well?
That's the only answer I've got. But she lives in the pond. Players can meet her. After that, we went and we expanded the hedge, which is where the brood mother lives. They can go explore that background, get some fun stuff from there. And then we went into the haze, which was originally part of the official launch. But when we wanted to go back and do it, like it was there, we were cool with it, but we had so many more other plans that the team was able to go through and redo the haze to make it something that they wanted. They added a sandbox, which has a very angry crab face that I love, because one of the first times you get into it, you're zip-lining in, and you just go right past this angry crab. So it's perfect. There's a picnic table, which has a tabletop game that is called Minotaurs and Myrmidons. Volume 2, obviously.
Yes.
And so you actually get to go through the tabletop castle that they've built, because whoever lived there left some miniatures and everything playing around.
So cool.
And then the most recent one that they just added was the upper yard area, which includes a wood pile and the termite den. So not only do you get a knocked over barbecue pit and you get to go explore that, but now you get to go meet the termites, which are always a blast.
Meet the termites. Lovely. So how many updates have you done now? For those who may not have been following, how many are we up to?
I want to say 14, which will be, 14 will be coming. As many of our fans know, we do push out our updates onto a public test before making them go live. And this is one of the beauties about being on Game Preview and working with our community. So the one that will be coming up hopefully soon, because it's available to test, will be 14. However, I believe I've done 18 vlogs. So we've been updating for a little while now.
Absolutely. And it's been amazing to see both the community and the game itself grow so, for lack of a better word, momentously over the last couple of years. And as well as that, receive positive feedback along the side. So now we're only a month away from the game's full release, as Phil mentioned, on September 27th. I want to know what that journey's been like for you, personally.
It's been amazing.
80 vlogs. You've been there.
It's been great. So when we first announced Grounded at XO 19, it was a very exciting time. It was a very, good, anxious time and everything, because Grounded is not the type of game that you go, Obsidian, that's perfect. That's what I'm expecting. And so to bring it to XO and get a first-hand glimpse at not only the announcement, but players actually playing it for the first time, that was just great. And so to see it go from those few who were at that convention, grow to 1 million in the first 48 hours, 5 million in the first 3, and then recently we hit 10 million. Like, to just watch this grow and to watch the team work with the community to build this game, It's impressive. Like, it makes me happy every time I think about it. I'm just so proud of what this game has become to not just the team, but the community and players.
Oh, absolutely. And talking about all 10 million of those players,
yes.
I got to say, you must get a ton of feedback and a lot of requests. So, two-part question here. Number one, how on earth do you go through all of that and work through all the feedback?
Yes, so our team is very dedicated to knowing what the community wants. And so when I say they read everything, they read everything.
Oh, everything is read.
Everything. Yes. They are on the Reddit constantly seeing what players are posting, what kind of bases or information that they're sharing with others. They are on our Discord seeing what's being talked about there, Twitter, Facebook, any place that people are talking about Grounded streams. They're there to see what ideas people are suggesting and what they can put into the game. Yeah. And so in order to have that and have a way that we can parse through everything, we have an official Discord where we encourage players to go and join the Discord and join the suggestion channel.
That's a great idea.
It is, and it's very, what's nice is it's very a community-focused type of way of getting suggestions in, because they can go and suggest something, and then the community can vote. So if it's something people really want, they can vote it up. If it's not something that they really care about, they could just leave it alone. And once these suggestions reach a certain limitation, then they're put onto an Excel file, and then they're brought in front of the game director and the QA lead, and our community manager and player support specialist, bless their hearts, they go through everything with them, and they make sure that the community is being heard in front of the dev team.
Fantastic. So my follow-up question on that then is, I'd love to know how the community has actually shaped Grounded over the years, and if you can give any in-game examples that actually only exist because people have shouted so loud about it.
Yes, so one of the ones, like Adam mentioned, sitting.
Well, yeah, we saw it just then in that clip. Who'd have thought sitting is what people want in their games?
Right, but it makes sense because we introduced chairs and sofas, and so people were able to decorate their bases, and decorate them they did. But then it would just be like, come to my base, but we can't sit.
Don't you dare sit down.
No. So we went ahead and we were able to bring sitting to the game, and so now people can lounge around. That was one thing that without the community, like, without how often they requested it, wouldn't probably be possible. Ladders are another one, because people are building giant houses, they're building bases,